I've waited so many years for answers. They've kept me yearning, memories becoming clear before the night turns to fear. So tell me how I'm doing, and tell me what I am. Those baseless, endless questions are calling for me back. I've watched you become yourself. Your enemies kept within reach. Don't be fooled by the camera's eyes when all you say is with your mouth full of lies. So tell me how I'm doing, and tell me what I am. Those baseless, endless questions are calling for me back. Rose-colored glasses painted by him. Everything lasts when nothing begins. Destiny's comfort changes so fast. Miracles happen, but they never come back. 'Cause what am I doing, and why does it matter when everything's made out of blood-tainted water? I tried to run, but I never could hide behind your walls and dirty parasites. So tell me how I'm doing it. Tell me what I am. Oh, those baseless, endless questions are calling for me back. Ooh, 'cause whatever happened to being alive for you? Just you. I've waited so many years for answers. They've kept me yearning, memories becoming clear before the night turns to fear. So tell me how I'm doing, and tell me what I am. Those baseless, endless questions are calling for me back. I've watched you become yourself. Your enemies kept within reach. Don't be fooled by the camera's eyes when all you say is with your mouth full of lies. So tell me how I'm doing, and tell me what I am. Those baseless, endless questions are calling for me back. Ooh. when nothing begins. Destiny's comfort. Heyo! We're back. We're back. Aqua. 53 months is wild. Enjoy your little guy. Into the little guy jar he goes. Hello, Aqua. Hello, Tesno. Welcome, friends. Welcome. We are back. We are back, indeed. We are here, and we are thriving, sort of. We needed a break. We needed a break from existence, and we're glad to be back. And yeah, I missed this. I missed this. How are you? How was your time when I was away? If you celebrate Christmas, did you have a good Christmas? Did you have a good New Year's? Tell me about it. I would love to know all about the things you got up to. We're just returning with a Just Chatting stream because it's been a while, so like I'm gonna yap. And I'm just like embracing the fact that I'm yapping, and it's just gonna be a yappy day. It's just a yappy day. It's just a yappy day. Because I've noticed, like, when I come back after a while, I barely play music anyways, so I'm just gonna, like, go full yappy. Life's been, it's normal, exhausting. Yeah, valid. It's been a weird start to the year, just because of the world. That's what I'll say about that. It's day 6, but I mean day 3 was a lot, you know. Day three was a lot. And apparently I posted too many chaos memes because my mom called me and asked if I was okay. So that's, do with that information. My mom literally was like, "Are you okay? I know you post memes and stuff, but there just seemed to be like a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay, all things considered. But, you know. So, yes, that's where I've been. Let's put some music on. Let me know if this is too loud, or if it needs to be louder, or if it needs to be quieter. But we are going to chat today about the books that I read in 2025 and my goals for 2026, specifically to reading, because I don't have goals other than reading goals. Anything else I want to try to do is very much a like, we'll see, maybe, but I can't hold myself to like, I can't be like, I'll just fail, you know? So like, yeah. So I mean, maybe I'd love it if I got to release an album this year. That would be really great. But again, we're just gonna do our best, and we're not gonna make promises because because y'all know what happened last year to me. And it was, yeah. So you know. So we're just gonna, our goal this year is to survive. And I think that's a great goal. I think more people's goal should be to survive. Plenty of year left to take things as they happen. Exactly. We're not going to say any, this is going to be my year. We're not going to say any, this is going to like, yeah. No, we are going to let things happen, and we're going to take things as they come. And we're just going to go from there. And we're going to reply to emails sometimes. And like, that's I think those are all great goals, you know? So the only like goals outside of that I do are reading goals because I love reading. And one of the things with long COVID that was difficult was struggling to read. Um, and that's not gone by any means. It's more manageable now, but it's not gone. But with talking to my therapist, I've learned to slow down and be okay with the fact that I don't have to be reading at my 16-year-old reading a 700-page book in a day speed. I don't have to do that. I can read slowly, and that can be okay. Because reading it all is difficult a lot of the time. So enjoy the reading that I'm doing at all instead of comparing myself to the person who used to be able to read 700-page books in a day, because I mean she's been gone for a while. I don't know where she ever was. I don't even think she exists anymore, and that's okay. Okay? That's okay. I don't have the energy of teenage Trina anymore. And that was part of it. I need the energy to read that fast. And yes, I used to be able to do like a book a month, and I can't really do that anymore. Not a book a month. Oh my god. A book a week. And I can't necessarily do that regularly anymore. Like some months maybe I'll do a book a week, but other months I might not. And that's also okay. So reading slowly and being okay with reading slowly. And that's what we're going to do, because I can't compare myself to people that are able to like read over 100 books in a year. I respect it so much, and like so much kudos, and like good for you, and I'm proud of you. But I need to be proud of me for reading 30, and 3 of those being short stories, and 10 of those being graphic novels. You know, like I need to be proud. But to be fair, I read a lot of depressing books in 2025, and I think what happened was I was I read a lot of sad, heavy things. And so when it came to the other things I chose, they had to be things like graphic novels. Otherwise, I would not survive. Otherwise, I would simply not survive. So I think that's a win. And that's why I had to do that, because turns out when you read a lot of grimdark fantasy in the span of a year, you are sad. And then when your life also falls apart in the span of a year, what you should be doing is reading lighter things. But instead, you're like, but you know what will actually make me feel better? Reading things that are more depressing than my life. Because at least it's not my life. And again, lots to unpack in therapy. I read a lot of sad, depressing things. Yeah, I followed the news too. Yeah, that too, right? So the world was on fire in 2025 and continues to be on fire. And then my life was on fire in 2025. And then I decided to read these really dark books that were all incredible. Like they were all 5-star reads. I loved them. However, it made it so everything I read in between then was like, I can manage a Hades and Persephone graphic novel right now. And it's not like those books were void of death. They actually were very much not. And they dealt with some dark things too. However, it was different. It was just different. It was just different. So yeah, so the news was a lot. And then my life was a lot, and then the books I read were a lot. So I could only manage littles in between them. So yeah, I have finished 1 book this year, so we're off to a good start. But we're gonna just kind of start with going through what I read in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025. Also, do you like my nails? I posted a picture in the Discord. You probably can't see that. Can you see that? Can you? Hi! Hi, Cindy. How's it going? Hope you're good. I'm doing well. How are you? It's good to see you. Nails, yes, they're very pretty. Hi, Chris. Welcome on in. Nails are very cute. Thank you. We are having a yap sesh today. We are having a yap sesh, first stream of the year. And I figure I yap a lot during my first stream of the year anyway, so I'm not gonna bother trying to do music and just make it a yap sesh. And that's where we are. Also, if you haven't heard, I'm sure, Cindy, you've heard Tessa's new song. It's so good. If anyone in chat hasn't heard it, go listen to it. It's so good. I'm good. Just became an aunt at the end of the year. Very exciting. Very exciting. Oh, I'm happy for you. Congratulations. I have been an aunt for a year and a half-ish, and I love it. It's just the best. It's just the best. It brings me so much joy. And I got to spend much time with my niece on the holidays, and that brought me so much joy. New song is very good. Excited for the video later today. I'm very excited for the video. It was also very funny that she didn't know when her song was releasing. Honestly, iconic. But yeah, it was so good. It was so good. And I just love how much it built. Like, yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. It was such a cool song. But yeah, I'm excited for her album, obviously. And yeah, I hope everyone's been doing well. We're going to chat about the books I've read in the last year, and then go through the reading challenges I've made. Now, listen. The reading challenges that I was part of creating this year, you can see the crash outs. Like, you can see the feralness come through strongly. That's so nice. I also love my little nephew so much already. Yeah, I love that. I'm happy for you. And I hope nephew's parents are doing well and managing everything post baby. But yeah, so I am gonna do that. And then when we do I love Storygraph, so excited to see what you read. Yeah, feel free to add me on Storygraph, friends. If anyone in chat is on Storygraph, feel free to add me. I'd love to see you. Or maybe that doesn't work, and maybe that's actually not the command. That's the command. And see, that's what happens when I don't put the right command in the title, because I don't know things. But that's okay, because I'm a pro streamer. And that's what matters. They're all doing well. Good. But yeah, if you have Storygraph, feel free to add me. And see the unhinged things I read. They're not that unhinged, but you'll like know when I'm going through it. Command works. Just followed and added you. Awesome. Yay! I will accept. I'm excited to see your reading as well. I love adding people on Storygraph and seeing what they're up to. And then getting like all the what's it called? Am I okay? Yeah, and getting recommendations from seeing what other people are reading. It's nice. It's nice. Also, we both have perks of being a wallflower on our favorites, which is fun. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show you what I've been up to. And it's been a while. Hello, welcome in. What do you want me to call you? Delulu? Alyssa! Yes, I can't reread it every year because I would be sad. But good on you. But it is one of my favorite books of all times. Alyssa, Welcome on in. Hello, friend. Happy New Year. How you doing? Friends, if you don't know Alyssa, go know Alyssa. Hello, Kestrel. Welcome on in. Hello, I'm Trina. I'm a music therapist. I do music and more here on Twitch. I saw you're talking about books and had to write in. Yes, we're chatting all things books. Thank you for the follow. Hi, Moss. Welcome on in. Happy New Year, Phil. Good to see you. Hello, friends. If you're not following Alyssa, do that. Because Alyssa also loves books and talking about books, and also plays fun games, and is also a feral gremlin like me. So all good things. That's true, but I also love the movie. I do also love the movie. I thought it was a great adaptation. But yeah, it makes me extremely unwell. I remember one time I read it on campus when I was still in undergrad. And I had to like stop reading and go home because I was like crying in the library. So don't read it in public. That's with most books that I recommend. I'm like, don't read it in public unless you want to cry in public. I'm sold. Just followed Alyssa's sketches. Yes. Alyssa's an icon. We love Alyssa. Let's get to some books. Okay, so we are going to pull up my Storygraph. And then I can show y'all how Storygraph works. This obviously isn't sponsored. I'm an absolutely nobody. But like, if Storygraph ever wants to sponsor me, I would die. Enjoy. So, this is my Storygraph. So if you're on Storygraph and want to add me, feel free to do so. It's the same as my Twitch name. It's the same as everything on everything. And let's start with the books I read in 2025. Hey, Pete. Good to see you too. Welcome on in. Happy New Year. So 2025, all my books that I read 30 books, and they're all in my Broadway musical challenge that I put with my friend. So we'll just go through it that way since all the books I read were added to the challenge. I need to go lurk for a bit. Should be back soonish. Okay, sounds good, Aqua. Have a good lurk. So these prompts are really funny. Well, not all of them. Some of them aren't funny, but this year the prompts are more unhinged. So I highly recommend y'all joining. I'm going to put some links in chat actually. So like what you're going to do if you're on Storygraph, feel free to join, I don't know, maybe this will work. Join this year's Broadway musical challenge. Storygraph is so good, made by a POC woman too. Yes, it's Black owned, no Amazon. Let's go. So this is the Broadway reading challenge for this year. So if you like musical theater and you like book challenges that aren't that serious, feel free to join that. So that's the one for this year. But let's go back to the one for last year. If you're on Storygraph, feel free to join. But yeah, so we started off, well, these books I didn't read in order, to be clear. They're in a random order, but we're going to go through them in the order of the prompts because that's what makes most sense. So we have Wicked, a book that's giving and they were roommates, or a book depicting fascism. Very different, but Wicked has both, you see? That sounds fun. Yeah! So I put The Burning God for this one, which was the last book in the Poppy War trilogy. I won't talk too much about what the Poppy War trilogy is about. Well, what The Burning God is about, because it's the third in a trilogy. But this series, let me scroll up so you can see. This series ended me. Like, I'm not here anymore. This is my ghost that you're seeing right now. This series, like, I always tell people I can't recommend it to everybody because it is the darkest, most devastating series I've ever read. And like, it does not hold back. It's very graphic. Like, it's one of those, like, it's a very necessary trilogy and covers a lot of history that a lot of people don't know about with the Sino-Japanese Wars and the Opium Wars and the Nanjing Massacre and all these like horrific historical events that a lot of people aren't aware of. And it does not hold back when it does that. It's very descriptive, and I felt like I was going to throw up at some points. It's I this might be making you go like I never want to read this, but like that's not to say I don't recommend it. They're my favorite books of all time now. They're up there in my favorite books of all time now. And it's a phenomenal trilogy and it's so important, but it's very much like if you're going to go into it, like read up a bit on the history it covers, um and look up the trigger warnings because it's a doozy. It's a doozy. And you definitely have to go into it prepared. And you're like, Trina, you had a really rough 2025. So what made you decide I'm gonna read this series? And to that, I will say, I never claim that I make good choices. I just recommend that you make good choices. Okay, and those are two different things, and that's fine. Um, and that's what we do here. That's what we do. Um, and you know, um, yeah, yeah. I needed medical attention after I finished that series. Like I, I actually can't talk about it. And right now, my TikTok is full of Poppy War edits. And I can't send them to anybody. So I'm just suffering alone. And that's my own doing. So yeah. And then we get to Mamma Mia, a book set in Greece or a book with messy family drama and a happy ending. I read the graphic novelization of the Odyssey. Um, what did I rate this one? I rated it 3.75 stars. There was the illustrations were stunning. Like visually, it was a beautiful book. I just felt the writing style could have used some improvement. But I had a great time with it. 3.575 is not a bad rating by any means. It means it was good, but it wasn't perfect. So that was for our Mamma Mia prompt. And then we get to our Moulin Rouge prompt, which is a book with a color in the title or a book that makes lots of pop culture references. So for this, I did People We Meet on Vacation. I don't read a lot of rom-coms. I wanted to read this one because the movie's coming out in like 3 days. Um, I will say I enjoy watching rom-coms more than I enjoy reading them generally. I had fun with this one. I thought it was a fun read. It was cute. Um, it wasn't life-changing, but I had a good time. Yeah, 3.5 stars. So like it was a decent read. It was cute. And it was fun. And I'm actually excited for the movie because yeah, I like watching rom-coms more than I enjoy reading them for whatever reason. I couldn't tell you why. Maybe it's because I read so many depressing books that like if there's no sadness, like that's and again, that's something I need to work on in my brain. But that's for another time. And so this obviously it wasn't the color in the title. I did for the makes lots of pop culture references. Um, and then we have Cabaret, which we did a book set in 1920s to 30s, or a character yearns to be famous. So I did the 1920s setting for this. This is a graphic novel where half the book takes place in the 1920s and half the book takes place in the 1970s. And it's like a multi generational family story. And it's really cool because for the most part, the scenes in the 70s are written like a book, but then the scenes in the 20s are all pictures. And then as you see those lives start to intertwine, um, they just become an amalgamation of both books and pictures and words. It's by the same author as the Hugo Cabaret, which was like one of my favorite childhood books. And I didn't know he had written another one, so I was very, very excited when I found out about this. I found it at like a used bookstore. And the illustrations were stunning as always. Yeah. So I had a great time with this. It was really lovely. 4.5 stars, you know, had a great time. And then we get to, so, okay, you're going to notice a trend because I read the first 9 volumes of Lore Olympus this year. So you're going to see a lot of Lore Olympus in this reading challenge. That's not, yeah. So, and like, I really shoved as much Lore Olympus as I possibly could into this reading challenge. And that's just what it's going to be. That's just what it's going to be. Also, the music isn't going anymore, is it? It will if I do this. I see what happened. Now the music's going again. To clarify, based on the prompt, I find and read a book that I think would fit the prompt. Yes, exactly. And sometimes I don't follow the prompts exactly. And what I mean by that is I don't have something in mind before I go and read the book. I will read books and then see, oh, what prompt might this fit into? I sometimes do it that way too, but sometimes I do it the other way. But yeah, basically you find a book that fits into the prompt in some way. Hi.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, not yet.
Not yet. Almost. Okay. So for Phantom of the Opera, the prompt is a book that takes place in a Gothic setting. I joined the 2026 one. Yay! I'm excited. In a Gothic setting, or a character is giving you can't fix him. And so for this, I did a Lore Olympus novel. Technically, some of the aspects of the book are Gothic, but it's more for the you can't fix him that I did for this one, and it was for Zeus, because no one can fix Zeus. And then we have Les Mis, which is a book that features a revolution or a character is or was incarcerated. And for Babel, I did for that one, and it works for both. Actually, I don't think I said what I rated. So this was Lore Olympus Volume 9, and I rated it 4.5 stars. And then Babel was a 5-star read. I obsessed. But it works for both prompts in that case. Accidentally, a revolution and a character is / was incarcerated. And Babel's a book I really think everyone on the planet needs to read. Like, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, I do think everyone on the planet needs to read that one. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I may never be okay again after reading that book. You'll sense a theme here. You'll sense a theme. That's still on my TBR. It's so good, Cindy. It's so dang good. Oh my god. I actually can't handle how good that book is. It is so good. It is so good. But yeah, it's a heavy one. It's really heavy, but it's so good. And then for Little Shop of Horrors, we had a book that's been adapted into a movie or a book that's a cult classic. And so I did adapt it into a movie, and it's a nonfiction book called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I don't rate nonfiction books. I just find it weird to, like, I personally struggle to rate nonfiction books, so I don't rate nonfiction books. But anyways, highly recommend this one. I listened to the audiobook. It's about the woman who basically is research from her cells are the reason for so much of why humans are still able to be alive today, including like development of the polio vaccine, different viruses. It's, yeah, but the thing is, her family received nothing. So like all these people like profited off of this Black woman, and her family still living in poverty. And it's a book that will infuriate you. Like, it's so important to read it, but it will infuriate you. Oh my god. And then we have Beauty and the Beast, a book set in a castle or a character that's giving you can fix him. And this, I put Lore Olympus Volume 1, which I rated 4.75 stars, and the character you can, it kind of, it would say more of a palace than a castle, but it fits more for the other prompt. Um, Also, like, when you don't need to pick both prompts, sometimes some of these books just happen to fit both. Um, but this I put more for you can fix him, and that was Hades. So obviously, Hamilton was a book featuring sisters or a book with cheating. Disclaimer: we do not condone this. Shame on you, Alexander. And for this, I chose the book featuring sisters, and I did How to End of a Love Story, which is a romance book that I actually really loved. And that's, I don't read a lot of romance books, but I rated this 4.5 stars. It was really good, but it's also like very dark in a lot of ways, which is probably why I liked it so much. Like, it's it was an intense read. I met the author, who's a lovely human. And it's great. And she wrote, I think she's done a lot of screenplays, so she wrote the screenplay for the upcoming People We Meet on Vacation adaptation, and I believe she's also writing the screenplay for another Emily Henry book, I think Beach Read. So the title sounds familiar. Yeah, How to End a Love Story is fantastic. Oh my god, like I was kind of blown away with how much I love this book. It's a doozy kind of, but it's also great. Like I loved it. I loved it. But yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Yulin Kwong. I want to read everything you write. Truly. Just added to my TBR. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. And then we have The Last 5 Years, a book told from multiple character perspectives, or a book featuring a breakup. I put Volume 4 of Lore Olympus, which was 5 stars. It was one of my favorite volumes in the series. And it has multiple character perspectives, so that went in there. I can't really say much about the Lore Olympus books because, like, obviously it's 9 graphic novels so far. I think the 10th came out recently. But, you know, it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. And it's actually really cool. The setting where they do it, it's like half modern, half not. It's really hard to describe, but it's very cool. Like, and the art is stunning. The art is so beautiful. But I really, really love this series. And then for 6, we have a book that's short and sweet, or a nonfiction book about a female identifying musician. So I did a book that's short and sweet for this one, and it was a short story called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelos by Ursula K. Le Guin. This short story, it was like an instant 5 star. This, oh my god. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. Like, Ursula, girl. Ursula. Killing it. Killing it. Always. Always. Queen. Like, what was it? Like a 7-page short story that sent me into a coma. Like, so good. And that's what I mean about these. It's not that deep. Like, you can use a short story as a book. You can use a children's book as a book. Like, reading's reading, you know? And then we have SpongeBob, a book that seems mid but is surprisingly quite good, because the SpongeBob musical is surprisingly quite good. Or a book associated with a lot of IRL drama. If you know, you know. I read the short story again. I'd read it years back, but I read The Yellow Wallpaper, and I did it with the IRL drama because the author is like a terrible person. But it's a great short story. It's like really messed up. I rated it 4 stars. It's, if anyone's played Date Everything, you should at some point just like go in front of the wallpaper and stare at it and not do anything for like a minute and just see what happens. See what happens. See what happens. And then we have The Lion King, a book with a large and diverse ensemble or a character with a dead dad. The first in the Poppy War trilogy. Kind of works with both, but I was mainly choosing it for large and diverse ensemble. And yeah, you heard me earlier talk my ear off. Your ear off about the Poppy War. I'm unwell permanently. I'm just unwell permanently. I don't like this series. The fandom is a prison and the series is a prison, and I may never recover in general. And then we go on to Beetlejuice, a book with supernatural elements or a character returns from the dead. So I did supernatural elements, and I did volume 2 of Lore Olympus, which I rated 4 stars. There's like a whole scene in the underworld and stuff. Yeah. And then this is like kind of, if you've read this book, you'll know how criminal it is that I put it in this prompt, but it's true. And it was Sunrise on the Reaping that ended my mental health. Hadestown, a book with a train wreck you see coming and can't look away, or a character dies and stays dead. And like it was the back-to-back of this that was really funny. Returns from the dead or dies and stay dead. Yeah. So it works for both of those prompts. Yeah. Sunrise on the Reaping. I rated it 5 stars. My partner checked if I was okay after because I was crying so much and I couldn't breathe. The movie comes out November of this year. So that's going to be making me unwell. But yeah, Suzanne, you did it again, Suzanne. Suzanne, when I catch you. I have not read it yet. Well, if you want to remain mentally well, don't read it. You should read it though. You should. It's fantastic, but you know, just warning you. Just warning you. It's probably been good for your mental health to have not read it yet. I'm nothing if not extremely dramatic. So that's where we are. And then we have Back to the Future, a book with time travel. This was also a criminal prompt that we made. Or a character that just really loves their mom. And the mom that characters really just love is Aphrodite. And that's all I'll say about that. And I put Lore Olympus Volume 7, rated at 4.25 stars. Maya Hawke will be in the movie. Yes. I won't tell you who she's going to play, because you have to read the book, because it's just telling you who she's going to play is spoilers. But it was perfect casting. I'm already not mentally well, so I might as well go all out. See, that's my attitude generally. So like, you get it. You get it. And that's generally my attitude too. So, you know, we got to do what we got to do. And sometimes that's just be very unwell. That's just be very deeply unwell. And then we have Cats, which is a collection of short stories or poetry, or a book with, wait for it, a cat. And I did another Lore Olympus Volume 3. This one I also rated 4.25 stars. There's a cat in this one. Then we get back to the depressing read. You'll see anything that's not a graphic novel, and then also with the exception of People We Meet on Vacation, is just like the most devastating book of all time. And this is how this happened. So we have the Book of Mormon, a book about religious deconstruction, or a character experiences the consequences of lying. I read Parable of the Sower this year. Yeah. And this book takes place in 2024/2025. Up to 2027. So it's a little too real for my liking. And I heard the second book is even more too real for my liking. And she wrote this in the 90s. So like that almost as if there's a theme. Yeah. There is a theme. I rated this 4.5 stars, I believe. So like almost a perfect book. Honestly, maybe it should be 5 stars. I don't know. But either way, it's kind of a crime, this book, in a good way. Like, okay, so when I need to always explain to people, like, when I say things like this, like, I'm complimenting it. But this book will break your brain. it's just too real. It's just too real. It's just too real. So that, yeah, I also read the Poppy War trilogy and Babel and Sunrise on the Reaping and Parable of the Sower in the same year, and we're not even done yet. We're not even done yet. Then we have Sweeney Todd, a nonfiction book involving food, baking, and or cooking, or a book that features murder, and I chose murder. And again, this is another Lore Olympus Volume 5, 4.5 stars. Great. All these books are fantastic. And then we have 5 is like the most murderous of the Lore Olympic books too, I'm pretty sure. Take with that what you will. And then we have, this book wasn't a sad book. I will say, like, there were a couple books at the beginning of the year that I read that weren't sad, which is like shocking. Jesus Christ Superstar, a book with betrayal, or a book or the villain nearly convinces you they're right because they're hot. And this book kind of goes for both of those prompts, not gonna lie. Like, I'll tell you that it's in the betrayal. I'll tell you I chose betrayal. But realistically, it could go in either. 4.25 stars. I met the author. She's lovely. The way her descriptions are so beautiful, and like you just like see yourself in the world so clearly. And the way she describes tea, like I even, like when I met her, I literally said, like, the way you describe tea is like the most beautiful thing ever. And like, as someone who loves tea, it was just like so stunning. And like, she started talking about her love for tea and like where that grew from, like her culture, and the love of traditional tea brewing, and the art of it. And the book isn't about tea, to be clear, but like you can tell she really loves tea from reading the book. So if you love tea, you'll also love this book. Like, I'm genuinely, it's not about tea, but it's about the Chinese mythology around the moon goddess. Obviously, I haven't read the second book yet. I know there are a lot of mixed feelings about the second book. I'll definitely read it, but I'm trying to lower my expectations because I did really love the first book, and from what I've heard, people weren't thrilled about the second book. Then we have Come From Away, a book written by a Canadian author or features found families. So I did the Canadian author for this prompt, and I read The Chartreuse by Mona Awad, which is a short story. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was like, Mona Awad, for those you don't know, writes like very like surrealist horror. Like, she read Bunny, which is like about cults. I haven't read Bunny yet. I want to, but like everyone's like, it's like the weirdest book you'll ever read, but it's so good, and it's also so messed up. This was a short story. I definitely can see the writing style, and I'm excited to read her novels from reading this short story. But like, it's definitely, yeah, like it wasn't like The One Who Walk Away from Omelas that like blew my mind, but like it was still good, and it was an interesting conversation about consumerism, and yeah. I read a witchy series where there's some magic teas. Yes, Bunny is still on my list. Yeah, so same author as Bunny. That sounds lovely. That series sounds lovely. And then I did The Great Gatsby, a book that explores class differences, or just read The Great Gatsby. I did Cinderella is Dead. I rated it 3.75 stars. It was one of those books, that I really enjoy. I enjoyed it, but I think that it was a little young for me. Like, I feel like if I read it when I was like 16, I'd be head over heels over this book. But I think it felt a little young for me, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that I wasn't the target audience. But I still had a great time with it. Then I have back to the depressing, Again, we're not done yet. Then I have Heathers, a thriller that takes place in high school or a book that explores fanaticism. And I did the fanaticism for the book, and I did the second Dragon Republic, and I will say no more about that because spoilers, but oh boy. 5 stars. But oh my God. Criminal. Just criminal, okay? For the second half of the year, I just forgot to rate my books, and now I can't remember how exactly I felt. I need to be better about it this year. So I was never on a reading app before Storygraph, and I started using Storygraph in 2023. But it was funny because I used it I signed up for it and then didn't open it till like 2 weeks before the end of the year, and then realized I had signed up for this challenge that I made with my friend, the Broadways, but for 2024. What year is it? Yeah, it was 2024. And then I had a hyper focus episode where I went through my Instagram to track all the books I've read. Not all of them, obviously, because I haven't had Instagram my whole life, but at least all the books I've read from a certain year, because I would post them all. And then I added some from just like my memory of reading as a child. I didn't rate everything because, yeah, again, I wouldn't be able to remember at this point for some of them. But there were ones that I did feel that I could rate, that I did rate, and others that like I just didn't remember enough to be able to rate fairly. Or if I remembered them, I still didn't remember how I felt enough to rate them fairly. But that was like a wild time, like the fact that I went through to like the depths of my Instagram to find all these books and add them all. So that's why it says I have so many books on my Storygraph, even though I just got Storygraph 2 years ago. So, but ever since I did that, I've actually properly tracked since then. So I think that's all I needed to do. Then we have Mean Girls, a book with a pink cover, pretty self-explanatory, or a character's cool mom. This I did Dungeons and Dramas. I rated it 3 stars. It was okay. I felt the writing style was a little odd, but it was fun. So yeah, it got like 3. It was fine. I've not added everything to my Storygraph from my whole life, but I try to add it over times. Just added Dungeons and Drama to the TBR the other day. It's a fun read. Like if you're looking for something quick, that, like it has theater kids and Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's a fun time. The writing style wasn't my favorite. And part of me goes back and forth with, is this just that like I'm old now, but no, I do think I'm valid in some of my opinions of that. But I do think it's a fun read. I wouldn't not recommend it. It was just not necessarily what I was expecting. I got Storygraph in 2022. Gotcha. Yeah, no, like the only reason again, it's not everything I've ever read because there's definitely stuff I'll forget, but like the stuff before I started documenting on Instagram, there's a few things I added that I remembered, but for the most part, it's just stuff that I documented from Instagram, whatever year that would have been, 2016 maybe, 10 years, and then a few from before. Because yeah, like for example, I think like all of John Green books I would have read before then, and like Perks of Being a Wallflower I would have read before then, and like I love all those books, so like I added them with just an estimate of when I read them, even though I like wasn't positive when I read them, but yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Just a quick fun read. Yeah, exactly. It's a quick fun read. And that's pretty good though. Oh yeah, like it was kind of a funny day. Like I really hyper focused. So then we have, again, back to like the books that destroyed me. Hairspray, a book featuring a protest or a main character that's body positive and or fat positive. So for this, I did a book featuring a protest, and we read Chain Gang All-Stars. And this was 5 stars. And I don't know if I finished it or it finished me. Again, you're noticing a theme. Oh my God, this book. This book was like Hunger Games, but in US prisons. So the US prison system.
That's also on my TBR since over a year. I have so many books on my TBR, so I get it. It's phenomenal, but it is so real, much too real. It's literally like Squid Games meets the Hunger Games within the US prison system. So take with that what you will. It's fantastic, but you're in for a time. You are in for a time. Holy heck. Holy heck. And then we have Jekyll and Hyde, a book that questions black and white thinking, or a book where a character discovers themselves. This book could work for both prompts. Jekyll, Hyde, Jekyll. And I did Immortal by Sue Lin Tan, and I loved this book. I liked it better than Daughter of the Moon Goddess. 4.5 stars, I think I rated it. Yeah. And I loved this book. Oh my God. It was really funny because I told a friend and I was like, I don't know what this says about me, but there was a very devastating ending that I had in my head and it didn't have that ending. But if it had that ending, I might have actually rated it 5 stars, which I don't know what that says about me. I don't know what that says about me to have wanted the devastating ending, but like, again, therapy. That's, yeah. And then we have Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, a book with a title that's a list or a book set in winter. Super bonus, just read War and Peace. No one read War and Peace. Like we looked at who added, not a single person added War and Peace, which valid. I did volume 8 of Lore Olympus, 5 stars. That was also one of my favorite volumes. I loved it. Yeah, in this, let's see. Yeah, I don't think a single person added War and Peace, because that would honestly be wild. Then we had Chess, a book featuring a rivalry or a book that takes place during the Cold War. I did Rivalry. Volume 6, I also rated 5 stars. The rivalry in this book is between Zeus and Hades. Also a Lore Olympus book. Okay, and then we have Rent, a book set during Pride or a book primarily set in an apartment. So I did a book set during Pride. This is You Know Me Well. 3.5. I thought it was really cute. I don't know if it was just the copy I had, but I noticed a lot of like typos and errors, and that was the main thing that I think brought the rating down for me. But I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cute book. And I do love a lot of David Levithan books, and Nina LeCoeur, You Know Me Well. That book ended me. I loved that book. And then lastly, from 2025, we have Next to Normal, a book that features interesting. Yeah. No, it was weird. There were a lot of typos and mistakes. Like, I think the funniest one, I feel like maybe they had accidentally published a few copies that had an older draft. Because there was like, the funniest one was it said they were in like a club and they were describing, I think they were going to add like a word like swaying to the music or dancing to the music. But they had verbing, like as if they were going to come back and decide what that word was going to be, but didn't fix it, so it just said verbing. That was the funniest one. That was definitely the funniest one. But yeah, I don't know if they accidentally printed one of like an earlier draft or something. There was also like some times where a character would be referenced, but that was the character talking, so they should have been referencing a different person's name. So maybe I just got a weird copy, but I did like the story. Then we finally have Next to Normal, a book that features realistic portrayal of mental illness or a book that features familial grief. This I did mainly for mental illness, but it could technically work for the other one too. And I did Solitaire by Alice Oseman. Insert name. No, literally. And I rated it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, so that was all the books that I read in 2025. So now let's chat a bit about my goals. So we'll go through the Broadway challenge for this year, and then I also did a challenge with a friend, but this one's under my name. And it was the Dropout TV reading challenge. So we made this. If you know Dropout TV, you should join this challenge because it's like unhinged. We already have like what, 175 people, which is wild to me. But this is the Dropout TV reading challenge. This one's on my account. And some of these prompts are normal-ish, and then they go so off the rails. But we'll come back to that. What we're gonna do first is go to our Broadway musicals of 2026. So I've read one book this year, so I've added one book to this challenge. But this was funny because we decided to go a little further. I've never heard of Dropout and just looked it up earlier. Oh, really? Well, Dropout is the best streaming service that exists, and it's all original indie made stuff, and it's excellent, and I highly recommend everyone should get a Dropout subscription. It's fantastic. Start with Game Changer. If you ever want to like just like do the free trial, start with Game Changer and just like binge that with the free trial, and then you'll just know you need it. Yeah, it looks really good. It's so good. It's so good. So this year we wanted to expand it. So this is our third year making the Broadway Musicals Challenge. So we wanted to expand past Broadway musicals. So we said like, some of these weren't on Broadway, but it's not that deep. We're including movie musicals because we can, and we made this. And also there's some non-Broadway musicals that are still stage musicals. Maybe you'll find a musical you like. Y'all can tell the creators of this challenge. Can you tell the creators of this challenge are neurodivergent? So yeah, so not all of these are Broadway musicals. Some are stage, but not Broadway. Some are movie musicals. We just kind of like went chaotic this time around. Like we really just wanted to be chaos, and that's what we should be. That's what's good. That's what makes the world go round, you know? So we're starting with La La Land, which is not a movie I enjoyed. But a character wins something, but they really don't. Brackets lol Oscars. If you know, you know. Or a character is trying to break into the entertainment industry. Then we have Death Note, a book from a series that you've committed to and have to see it through. Similar to Death Note. Or a morally gray main character. I love La La Land. I'm sorry, you're allowed to love La La Land. It wasn't my fave, but I respect anyone who loves it. There's an ad break happening. Ad break. Sorry. Will continue when back. I'm just gonna put us on the BRB screen for a sec.
I'm a little bit uncertain, a little bit messed up, a little bit forgotten when things fall apart, a little bit too needy, often misconstrued. But how is it that this time I'm a little bit like you? 'Cause I wish I could be the monster you think of me, hiding right under your bed, just waiting to ruin you, shame you, and punish you, leave you for nothing but dead. All burden gets lifted, all truth go be damned when it's all that you made in your head. It's harder to know things and see when the show brings the misery I have to tread as the monster in your head. Monster inside of your head might just leave you for dead. And the monster inside of your head. What if just this once you admit you did me wrong? Would that mean you could see how messed up I'd have to be if I were really that petty and damn well insecure? But nothing will sink in if it means you might lose something or do that bad. I wish I could be the monster you think of me, hiding right under your bed,
Okay, we're back. That's oops. 1 second. You just saw Wonder for a second. Also, I need to get rid of that. Aqua's back. Cindy, I love that you love La La Land. And I also want to just say as a disclaimer always, if I say I don't like something, I love if other people like it. And I think that's something that's really beautiful about art, that it might not have been my favorite thing, but art is subjective, and something that I like, you might like, and something that I don't like, you might not like, you know. Anyways, all that to say, hi Aqua, welcome back. Okay, so we were just talking about, so this is this year's musicals challenge. So we were just talking about Death Note, which is a book from a series you've committed to and have to see it through, or a morally gray main character. And then we've got The Outsiders. A character is a sad teenager, or just read The Outsiders. Brilliant. This is what I said. Like, this year, like, we just kind of like lost our minds. The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, a horror comedy book, or a book you think more people should know about. Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals is a Star Kid musical that I need to watch, because I need to watch more Star Kid, and I haven't watched Star Kid in many years, but I need to change that because I know I will love it. And it has Angela Giratana, so in the newer ones, so like I gotta, because I love her. Then we have The Lightning Thief, or the Percy Jackson musical, a book with a faithful adaptation, or read a book in the Percy Jackson universe. And then we have Mrs. Doubtfire, a book that makes you go, just why? Because why is there a Mrs. Doubtfire musical? Nobody asked for this. Nobody wanted this. Or a character takes care of children. That's the other option. Then we have Aida, a book that takes place in North Africa, or a book with star-crossed lovers. We've got Urinetown, a book that features poverty or criticizes capitalism, or a book that is satirical. We've then got Sunday in the Park with George, a classic, or a book that takes place in France. And then I've read one book this year, so I've completed one prompt. The Secret Garden, a character that really grows throughout the book, or just read The Secret Garden. And my first book of the year was The Woman in Cabin 10, which is a thriller. I rated it 3.75 stars, which is a good rating for me for thrillers, because I don't usually do well with thriller books. I find so many of them to be so predictable and boring. But I did enjoy this one. It wasn't life-changing, but I did have a good time with it. And I'm curious to read more of Ruth Ware's works, and I think I'll enjoy her. Some of her other books too. I've met her, she's lovely. But yeah, 3.75 for me is actually a very high rating for a thriller, which might sound wild, but like it actually is. I don't really like many thrillers because I find so many of them ridiculous or like predictable in bad ways, or like, oh wow, plot twist, person has some mental illness that's really misunderstood, so I'm going to use it to make a plot twist, which is my biggest pet peeve in many thrillers. So yeah, that's why I don't read a lot of thrillers. So 3.75 is a high rating for a thriller for me. It means it was good. And then we have Pitch Perfect, a character that's giving I'm not like the other girls, or features a battle of any kind. A battle. If you know what I'm referencing, you get 12 gold stars. Then we have The Greatest Showman. The inspiration of the book is quite different than the actual book, because if you don't know, P.T. Barnum was a terrible, terrible man. But that movie slaps. And yeah. Or a cast of lovable outcasts, a lip sync battle. Yes, it could be a lip sync battle, but a battle of any kind. Also, Jacob Wysocki, speaking of Dropout, was in the first Pitch Perfect movie, the leader of the other team for the lip sync battle. Iconic. Iconic. That was before I even knew how iconic Jacob Wysocki is. And then we have Dreamgirls, a book that takes place in the 60s, or a book with multiple Black women characters. Then we've got Maybe Happy Ending, a book by a Korean author, or a book featuring a robot. Then we've got A Star is Born, a book that portrays substance use, or a book that's really long. I thought that was funny because it's true. Then we have High School Musical, a book that's seriously not that serious, or a character with a T name, Troy. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Could have done A Little Life for that one and hit both. No, I refuse to read A Little Life. Like, I actually, like, I will never read that book. I will never read that book. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I could ever do it. Honestly, anyone who's read that book, you're stronger than I'll ever be. But oh my God. Oh my God. I tell everyone do it and also don't do it. What a mood. What a mood. And then we have Company, a book with a lot of relationship drama, or a book with self-destructive characters. And then we've got Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, a book with a colorful cover. Best and worst thing I've read simultaneously. I don't think I can do it. And I think, like, I know it's like one of the most controversial books out there, and I love how much it's discussed, because I think you should and have to discuss art, and I think it's really telling how much it's discussed. And I haven't read it, so I can't personally give an opinion on it. But I don't think I can read it. I'm trying to say this carefully. I'll go with this. From certain things the author has said, I don't trust her to have had good intentions going into that book. And some of the things she has said about mental illness have very much concerned me. And so I feel like some of the things that are portrayed from what I've heard could be interpreted a certain way, but then after what she's said about mental illness, I'm like, oh no, I think this is really what she believes, which is concerning to me. And I know it's like such, you know, it's, yeah, don't feel pressured. I was just too curious. That's totally fair. But yeah, like I did look up the trigger warnings. I was curious at one point too, but it's like, it was really feeling like every single bad thing that could happen to a person happens to this person in this book. And I don't know. Again, I haven't read the book. Yes, I've only heard all this after. Not good. Totally fair, right? Like, if you go into the book not knowing this, like, you might go in with a different perspective and come out with a different perspective. But if you know this stuff, you're like, oh, yikes. Trigger warnings are basically all of them. Literally all of them. Like, literally all of them. And like the fact that the main character is a gay man just adds so many layers of like, you're not only doing all this horrible stuff, but they're a queer person and you're doing all this horrible stuff to them. And you're writing not from a queer perspective. And it just felt like I'm also being careful because of TOS, to be perfectly valid, because some of the stuff I don't think I can actually talk about on Twitch. But yeah, there's just some yikes. There's some yikes with what she said about certain issues. And because of that, yeah, it's kind of reads as trauma corn. I'm saying corn on purpose. Yes, all the triggers, and that's not being dramatic. It's not. It's literally every single trigger warning you can think of. But yeah, it's like, okay, so for example, the graphic things that happen in the Poppy War, none of them are done for shock value. They're all based on real historical events that have happened to people. And they're put into this book because like R.F. Kuang went to it being like, nobody knows about these historical events. Like the Nanjing massacre is literally known in China as the Forgotten Holocaust because literally nobody knows about this stuff. Like nothing in those books, as graphic as it gets, is done for shock value. It's done to educate about the realities that these people went through. Whereas from what I've heard about A Little Life, a lot of all those terrible things can happen, but all of them happening to one people is like honestly impossible. And like the message just being like you couldn't be helped is a big yikes. Yeah. I'm just being careful how I word things because of TOS. But Cindy, you probably know everything I'm talking about. Like I said, I haven't read the book, so I'm speaking completely as an outsider. But when I started hearing about it, I did look into it a lot, and that's why I made the decision not to read it. But a lot of people went in not knowing anything. So it could be a totally different experience. Yes, totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. I get you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just being as careful as possible here. Yeah. Okay, so we have Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, a book with a colorful cover or a book that features jealousy. Then we had to throw in Bad Cinderella because it's so bad. A book set in a kingdom, or, and this was the shady prompt, a book by an author you usually love, but you didn't like this one. Because Andrew Lloyd Webber, what was that? What was that? Then we have Into the Woods, a book that takes a dramatic turn in the second half. Damn, I know, it's such a shady prompt. A book that takes a dramatic turn in the second half, or a character that likes to bake. Could really go both ways with this one. I love Into the Woods so much. Oh my god, it's one of my favorite shows ever. Then we have The Hunchback of Notre Dame. A main character is disabled, or just read The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Warning, the cartoon movie actually removed some of the problematic aspects of the book. I haven't read the book. The musical's phenomenal. I obviously loved the movie as a kid, literally the most terrifying villain in a kid's movie ever. But there's some really bad stuff in the book that like they fixed in the movie, which I'm kind of surprised to hear. But yeah, Romani people in the book are treated extremely bad. Like in the movie, it's clear that like this is a racism thing, but in the book, it's like, nah, they're right. And I'm like, oh, Ooh, that's ooh, bad, 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 bad. Victor Hugo. No. No, thank you. Then we have Hercules, a book where the villain is a little blue, or a character gets absolutely jacked. As you can see, we kind of went off the rails this year. And I wouldn't have it any other way because rails are overrated, you know? And then we have Anne Juliet, a character doesn't need a Romeo or read a Shakespeare original or Shakespeare retelling. Then we have Spring Awakening, a book that takes place in spring or a character explores their sexuality. Then we have Once, a character finds the right person at the wrong time, or ouch. Just ouch. If you read a book and at the end you're like, ouch, put it into that prompt, because if you know Once, you know. You know. You know. Then we have Death Becomes Her, a book that's popular on Book Talk or a book that features potions. We did the Book Talk one for this because, and also we put Book Talk, but like quotations, like, you know, a book that's popular. It doesn't matter. Because like so many songs from Death Becomes Her went so viral on TikTok specifically. It was kind of wild. And then we've got Pippin, a book with a medieval or Roman setting, or a book that breaks the fourth wall. The Light in the Piazza, a book that takes place in Italy or a mother-daughter relationship is central to the plot. The Devil Wears Prada, a book published in 2006, or a character doesn't like who they've become. The Broadway show's coming out in 2006, okay, calm down. Yes, it's already on the West End, but you know. And then lastly, Fun Home, a memoir or graphic novel, or both, or a queer main character. So that's our Broadway musical challenge for 2026. So feel free to join it. I'll post it one more time in chat. I'm actually going to post both reading books. Challenge. Draw. About. Challenge. And then we're going to just pin this. So both challenges are pinned. If you're on Storygraph and want to join, feel free to do so. You can also just go to my profile and scroll down and you'll be able to find both of them. I'm hosting the Dropout one, but my friend's hosting the other one, but we made both of them together. And then a third friend also made the Broadway one with us. Okay. And then we have our Dropout challenge. Now, this is one of the most unhinged things I've ever made. Oh, another person has already joined. So we're at 176 now. Exciting. This is one of the most unhinged things we've ever made. It starts like relatively normal. I joined both. Oh, nice, Cindy. I'm so happy. This is truly one of the most unhinged things we've ever made. It starts relatively normal, and then once it goes off the rails, it never comes back. And I'm very proud of the chaos we created here. So it starts off with just like different shows on Dropout, and we made prompts inspired by them, but eventually it goes to like niche references from different shows. And it's sheer chaos. And the thing is, I love that. Yeah. And we made like a lot of bonus prompts because we wanted as many people to join this as possible. We wanted it to be fairly accessible. And so like 15 is pretty low as far as reading challenges go. So we kept the main prompts 15. And again, you can do short stories for your prompts. You can do children's books. It doesn't have to be a novel. And then the rest of the prompts are just chaos bonus. You don't have to do them to finish the challenge, but if you want to. I also forgot to turn the music back on, but I'm a pro streamer. But yes. Okay, so we start with Game Changer, a book that's part of an anthology. That's like the nicest way to describe Game Changer. Like, we should have done a book that like is psychological warfare. But anyways, or read a book from the Game Changer series by Rachel Reid. I don't know if anyone else watched Heated Rivalry, but as a Canadian, it's part of my duty. And these gay hockey boys have my whole heart. These gay hockey boys have my whole heart. They have my whole heart. And I think it's really funny how people are like petitioning Team Canada to release the fleece sweater. If you know, you know. And the poor social media intern is like updating people being like, guys, I told my boss we're trying to make it happen. Like I'm like But yeah, so because the series is named Game Changer and the first book is called Game Changer in the book series, we had to do that. And also in the TV show, the episode that references the first book of the series literally has a loop-de-loop on the side, and like I'm positive that someone on that set design team knows about Game Changer and did that on purpose. That's our theory. Our as in like all the Game Changer fans in the world and all the Heated Rivalry fans in the world, the ones the combined of those two. This is our end game. This is our headcanon. That's the one. Anyways. Then we have Make Some Noise, a book with a lot of side quests, or a book with a cover that has gold on it, a la Golden Ear. Very Important People, a biography, or a taboo romance. This is for the Bianca shippers. If you know, you know. And if you don't know and start watching Very Important People and are very confused, just go on Tumblr after and search Bianca or go on TikTok after and search Bianca. Either way, you'll be in for a time. I will check out the platform so I can properly appreciate the glory of this challenge. Do it! You'll love it. It'll be the best decision you make, I promise. And then we have Gastronauts. A character works in the food industry, or a character has to do something in a short period of time. And then this is my completed challenge with the book that I read this year. The first book I read this year, Dirty Laundry, a character with a wild secret. It is a thriller. Characters have secrets in thrillers. Or there's a character who is teased but is in on the joke. Then we've got Crowd Control, a book that screams. I'm just gonna do this. Or a character is a comedian. If you're like, what the fudge? That's the stand-up comedy show. Listen, the people in the audience of the stand-up comedy show, listen, if you know, you know. Then we've got Smarty Pants, a dark academia book or a nonfiction about your special interest. You can compare with friends. Again, if you know, you know. There's a lot of references throughout this. Then we have Actually, a science fiction or fantasy book. Actually, you could also read a book where a character is a know-it-all. Then we have Dimension 20, a book with dungeons and or dragons, or a character is on a quest. Then we have Parlor Room, a book with a fun group of friends, or a book with betrayal. The pasta noche can lay down. Then we have Play It By Ear, a book that features theater kids, or a character is a singer / likes to sing. Then we've got College Humor Originals, just like an ode, a little nod, a book that makes you Google words, or a book set in a workplace with very involved coworkers. Then we have Monet's Slumber Party, a book with queer joy, or a character sleeps over. And then our last two main prompts don't have or for very important reasons. We've got I Cannot Win, a book featuring a bird. It's a deep cut, kind of. And then we have our last main prompt, Intrepid Heroes, a book with no rails. The rails are gone. Only chaos now. And you can use the same book for multiple categories. You can also, like, I'm using books from the Broadway Challenge and I'm also using them over here. So, like, you know, there's ways to be flexible about it. Now we get into our bonus prompts, and this is where there's no more rails. Paul Raffarino, a sports romance. You're gay and you've never had flavored butter? A character tries something for the first time. Toxic masculinity is dead. I dance now. A man expresses themselves in a healthy way. Evelyn Tucci, a book by one of your favorite authors. I'm the Joker. A character does a dare. Like, with no context, this is so unhinged, but with context, it's brilliant. I kiss her and skateboard away. A book with a rebellious teenager. Super Saiyan, read a manga. Well, a book from a manga, you know. You don't need to read a whole series for that. Mark Mercer, a book that has at least one scene on a bus. Pro challenge, find a book that hits all the categories. That would be incredible. A true feat. A true feat. I would be very impressed if someone managed to do that. Dead, a book that comes back to haunt you. That's a reference to Izzy's movie, which is fantastic. Hey Girlie, a book with a dog. No problem. A character has a catchphrase. A bug with a big ass. A character is trying to be something they're not. Abria, a book with a character that's giving mother. The Seven, a book so steamy you have to fan yourself. Chef Boyar Girl, a book that mentions pasta. La Familia, a book with La Familia. I told you, the rails are gone at this point. Come on, everybody, can I get a little clap? An inspirational book. And then last but certainly not least, yeah, I killed him. A book with scenes in a courtroom. And there we go. Those are the 2 challenges that me and my friends made for this year on Storygraph. Feel free to join. Feel free to follow along. It's just sheer chaos. I love this. So unhinged. It really is, like, just absolutely unhinged. These categories are like, and we made the Broadway one first, so it was like slightly more normal. So by the time we got to the Dropout one, we were also getting a bit tired, so the rails just, like, there were no more rails. There were no more rails. And rails are overrated, you know? Rails, sometimes you don't have rails, and that's okay. And sometimes the rails are the friends you made along the way. And sometimes this just upgraded my reading experience this year. I'm so glad. And that's, like, the main reason for this. It's like, let's make it fun. You know, let's remove some of the stress around reading and just, like, be like, what's a book with a bird? And just make it a little more unhinged and fun. And it's always a good time. It's always a good time. And I love Storygraph. It's so great. It's Black owned, it's independent. It's a great alternative to Goodreads if you've been looking for one. I've heard good things about Pagebound too. Pagebound is a little more of a social media app than Storygraph. Storygraph is better for like statistics and things like that, so it just kind of depends what you're looking for, but those are the two I recommend. And yeah, I had never been on a reading app before Storygraph, and I will never be going back. I love Storygraph unless something unhinged happens, but I love Storygraph. Um I've never really used Goodreads, but once I found Storygraph, I was hooked. I'm so glad. It's so good. Disney, welcome on in. I love the stats and graphs too. Me too. I love all the stats. Oh, that's something we should look through. My Storygraph stats. How you doing, Disney? It's good to see you. Yeah, let's go through my stats because that will be fun. Doing good, very productive day. Then I became an engineer. What do you mean then you became an engineer? What do you mean then you became an engineer? I bought a new gravity water thing for my dogs. The online posting shows it with the top lid and everything. We got it and the top lid was decorative. Still had to load the water from the bottom, which is not what I wanted. So I had to figure out how to cut the thick plastic off. Lots of trial and error, but I finally cut out the top. Woman in STEM. Disney, can we get claps in chat for Disney? Claps in chat. I am proud of you. That's so funny. Oh my god. That's tragic, but I'm so glad that you figured it out. I tried a variety of knives, box cutter, scissors, but what got it off was a heat gun and a big old knife. That's so funny. I love it. I love it. We were just going through, we went through all the books I read in 2025 and then the challenges that I've set up for 2026. The challenges are pinned. If you want to join, I know you're on Storygraph Disney, so if you want to join, feel free. They're pinned. But now we're going to go through my reading stats of 2025 because I just realized we didn't actually go through the stats. So, yes, we now friends there. We are. Yeah. So, okay, we'll go through our Storygraph stats. So this is like the overall, and then we'll go through the other stat page. So yeah, 2025, I read 30 books, 11,536 pages. My first book was Babel. Oh, what a way to start the year. And my last book was a short story, The Chartreuse. A mood map of my reading. Lighter books push the line up and darker pull the line down. I started in the black. On Storygraph, we all fam. Heck yeah. If you're in chat and you want to add me on Storygraph, feel free to do so. I know most of you that have Storygraph already have, so, but, you know. I love that, like, the first reads I read this year were just like, and then it just kept going down again, and then, like, this was probably when I read Lore Olympus, and we got up, and then it's like, ooh, back to Burning God. You felt Mine is always starting out high and then goes down towards the end. Yeah, I think it was because I read so many miserable, like fantastic books, but miserable books at the beginning of the year that it actually went up. You felt every heartbeat on the page, wandered through tales, tinged with shadow, and found plenty of reasons to smile. There were some real page turners. Books read, pages read, you know, things. This was probably when I read all those graphic novels. That's why it's so high. Oh, April, I read nothing. That's when I was in my highest depression of the year. Because my life from March to here just like went so down. And then again, we were doing okay. And then poop. It literally follows how my life was. That's very funny. The genres I spent the most time with in 2025. I live for all the graphs and stats. I love it so much. It's literally the main reason I chose Storygraph. It's like, oh, when was Trina's life crappy? You can literally see when it was crappy. So my top genre was fantasy, which will come as a surprise to no one. And then romance, which was probably because of all the Lore Olympus books. Because I don't read a lot of romance, but I did read all the Lore Olympus books. So that's probably what bumped up the romance. And then graphic novel, which is obvious because I read so many. Oh, what happened there? Oh, yes, my life. No, like quite literally. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's when everything bad happened. Yeah, Trina, don't look at my books read. Disney, I wasn't going to say anything because I don't want to call you out in chat, but I saw your... Do you want to hear my confession? So my confession is I did know you were on Storygraph, so I looked you up and I found you, but I was like, maybe this isn't Disney. I don't know if they read a lot of these kind of books. And so that's when I went into your chat and I was like, Disney, can I have your Storygraph? And then it was your Storygraph. And I was like, okay, Disney, I see you. So that's my confession. It's okay. I have a very good IRL friend whose Storygraph looks very similar to yours, so no judgment from me. Truly, no judgment. One of my closest friends has a Storygraph very similar to yours. I think, though, what's funniest, Disney, though, is when it's a book like that, and then, like, you rate it 5 stars, and I'm like, hell yeah. I don't know why it makes it so much better when, like, you rate it 5 stars. I love the date you had. Like I was just like, maybe it's not Disney. Maybe they just have the same name. We're not stalking. We're just looking out for each other. Exactly. But it's funniest when it's like, I rated this 5 stars, and you look at the cover of the book or the synopsis, and you're like, okay. I adore you. And I won't say anything about the books. That's why I'm being very vague right now. But what I will say is that I do have a friend whose Storygraph, IRL friend whose Storygraph looks very similar to yours. So no judgment. No judgment. You do you, boo. In my defense, some are romantasy, not just romance. Calling them romance is a stretch, girl. Calling them romances. Because, see... You see how it looks like I've read a lot of romance here? My books aren't similar to Disney's. Now, I don't know which ones you meant. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I've not seen Disney's profile, but I can imagine, and I have a friend who reads those too. BRB changing ratings. Listen, I love it. I love it. It brings me joy. It brings me so much joy. Like, I was like literally laughing and being like, this is the best thing ever. Like, go off, queen. I'm obsessed with you. Like, truly obsessed. No notes. Truly obsessed. No notes. Yeah, I think Cindy can take a guess. We don't book shame, we book we fam. Exactly. Nah, but I'm rereading books recently. I'm like, why was I so nice in my rating for this? This happens all the time. Like, there's books that I was actually kind of glad that because I got Storygraph later, I put some books on there that I had read forever ago. And if I put them on Storygraph when I had read them, they would be like 5 stars. But now that it's been a few years, I'm like, no, that's not a 5-star read. You were just like deeply 22 years old, you know? Like, you were just like so deeply 22. Like, but yeah, so I don't actually read a lot of romance, but I think this is so high because I read a lot of Lore Olympus, which like I would say I read like more romantic fantasy than romance, but that's probably why that rating is so high. And I did read a lot of graphic novels, so that is fair. Historical is also very fair. When I started Storygraph, I was deep into romance, hyper focus. I was too nice on those ratings. We were young and didn't know better. Exactly. But that's the thing. And that's why, like, we really don't book shame because here, this is going to be like me ranting for a second. But like, right after undergrad, here, let's get close and personal. So right after undergrad, I hadn't read for fun in a long time because I was constantly reading psych textbooks and articles and all this dense stuff. And so I hadn't read for fun in a long time. And so yeah, I read a bunch of books that weren't super high quality. I read there are some really good romanticies out there. A lot of the romantasy I read in that time wasn't great, but like I loved it at the time because I hadn't read in so long. So I just needed things that were like super fast paced. And just to get me back into reading again. And if someone like at that time in my life was like, you're reading bad books or you're reading trash, I'd be like, F you and your mom. But realistically, what would have happened is I would have gone into a shame spiral and then I would have just stopped reading and then I wouldn't have gotten back into the reading in the way I did. I wouldn't be reading things like the Poppy War now because I wouldn't have grown as a reader at all. And given myself the chance to read a variety of books in a variety of genre to figure out what my taste really was. And like, that's why we really don't reader shame because you never know at any point in your life. Like maybe like 10 years from now, I'm going to also need another phase where I read like these simpler books that maybe not are like the best quality in the world, but get me reading again. And those books are just as important. So like, I know we're joking and messing with you and everything, but like in all reality, like reading shaming will never be a thing here and never something that I will allow in here. And that to say, I'm obviously not talking about bringing up like problematic authors. Like if you see your friend is reading a lot from an author that like has done like a bunch of stuff and like you're warning them about that, that's different and that's not what I'm talking about. But as far as like shaming the genres people read or the types of books or like the style like that, no, we don't do that in here. You motivated me to make my goal to reread my 5 stars and rewrite. Well, look at me inspiring people. No, I'm shamed. Don't be shamed, Disney. I honestly iconic. Like I said, one of my best friends, IRL, has a very similar story to you. She doesn't rate a lot of her books, but don't worry. I got you. And there's literally no shame in sight. I love it. It's iconic. And the recent book that you rated like 1.5 stars also made me die laughing because of the title, and I also cried laughing seeing the 1.5 star rating on that just as much as some of the 5-star ratings. So like, you're good. It's so good. It's so good. What's funny is I just started reading the genre like 3 years ago. Prior, I read a lot of horror mystery. That's what I mean when like you really go through like so many different phases. And I went through like a massive contemporary phase where like I wouldn't touch a fantasy book, and now I'm like all over fantasy again. I went through a massive romantasy phase. Like you go through different stages. And the genre doesn't mean anything, right? Like there are fantastic books in every genre and there are not great books in every genre, but also reading is subjective. So like I might love something that you hate and you might love something that I hate. So it's really not that deep. That book was so bad. I had to force myself to finish it and hope something good would happen in the end. It didn't. I should tell you my notes on that book. Oh my God, I would love to know. Because I saw the title and I was like, oh my God. And then I saw the 1.5 star rating and I was like, let's go. I just made my friend sign up to Storygraph at the beginning of this year, and now she's slowly adding her books, and I looked at them and I was like, oh, there's listen. And like, I think that there is something that I'm trying to see how do I word this to not TOS, you know? There is a theme, and I think we also need to look at the society theme that leads to that theme. And a society theme of, oh, we're kind of going back to a lot of the trad wifey stuff and the body standards of like when I grew up in the early 2000s. That's really damaging. And the thing about a lot of these books is that they're very much embracing people for who they are and what they look like, and prioritizing the wants and needs of you. I'm trying to be so careful because of TOS, you know? But I do think that there's a reason that genre is so popular. And I think it means that we have to kind of also take a look at maybe the messaging that we as society have been giving out, and what do we expect people to turn to when that's the case. And that's all I'll say about that. I just wanted a Christmas book. All of them had long holds at the library, so I got what I got. Honestly valid. Honestly valid. So valid. I'm back. Oh, thank you so much for this. For the sub, Cindy. I so appreciate that. But yeah, all that to say is we don't shame reading tastes in here. Read what gets you reading. And obviously, like, problematic authors is a different conversation, but as far as like genres and stuff. Yeah. This is your little guy. Cindy, I hope you love him. And into the little guy mug he goes. All right, back to my stats. That long tangent. So, yeah, historical contemporary checks out. How cute! Yes, that's a new thing. I don't think you were here from when we started doing that, but now subscribers get a little guy. So the longest book I read was The Dragon Republic, which was 658 pages of pain and suffering and destruction, and I did not know about them. Yeah, so I think it was, yeah, it was fairly recently. I haven't had them for that long, but yeah, I don't think they were here last time I saw you. So they're new for you. But yeah, 658 pages of pain, suffering, anguish, and my mental health slowly going down the drain, and I wouldn't change it for anything because, again, it's like one of the best trilogies I've ever read in my life. So take with that what you will. I DM'd you the notes because I think Twitch would not allow that. Okay, I'll check after. Okay, wait, no, I'm gonna read it now, but then I'll reply to you after stream. Stop! I will reply to you after, but I'm dying. I had to react right away, though. And I see why you DM them to me. Normally it's nighttime for me, so miss your streams. That's fair. And like, honestly though, like, my year was hot garbage. So I did take a few different streaming breaks throughout the year as well. At 87 pages, I knew Trina, but I still tried. It was such a struggle. I can only imagine that it was an absolute struggle to get through, and kudos to you for finish it. Honestly, kudos to you for not DNFing. But yeah, all those words I said about the Dragon Republic were compliments. You might not think they were, but they were compliments. Shortest book was a short story, which is why it was only 7 pages. Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, one of the best short stories I've ever read in my life. Holy crap. The average length of books I read was 384 pages, and it took around 6 days to finish each book. Least time spent 1 day. Makes sense. It's a short story. Okay, 23 days. Okay, it didn't actually take me 23 days to read this book. That's crime. I don't think that stat should be there because that's actually rude. It was just I was having a reading slump, so I wasn't reading as much, so it took me longer. Authors I spent the most time with: Rachel Smith, because I read all of her Lore Olympus. R.F. Kuang, I read 4 R.F. Kuang books, so checks out. And Su Lin Tan, read 2 of her books, so that makes sense. I had a super high average rating this year because I read all the Lore Olympus books, and I rated all the Lore Olympus books so high. And then all the super depressing books were also rated so high. Yeah, so then it made my average rating super high. I read a lot of good books last year. You can also pause the books in Storygraph now, which is very convenient. Yeah, I'm so glad when they added that feature. I was so thrilled. Because yeah, otherwise I would be like, this book took you 6 months to finish. It was like, no, it was 3 days over the course of 6 months, but it was 3 days. So, so I had a lot of 5-star reads, which will come as no surprise, because I rated 3 of the Lore Olympus books 5 stars, and then Babel was obviously an instant 5-star. And then, yeah, it was 3 Lore Olympus books, and then the books that mentally and physically destroyed me. Those were all rated for 5 stars, you know? All of the R.F. Kuang, Babel, the Poppy War trilogy, which were all criminal. In the best way. We would like to keep the facts straight, please. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, all of these books ruined my life. And so they're obviously 5 stars. Sunrise on the Reaping, I actually can't talk about. No. Just like the Poppy War, like I actually can't talk about it because my TikTok For You page is just Poppy War and Sunrise on the Reaping edits right now, and it's actually a hate crime against me personally. Chain Gang All Stars, again. Yeah, I really went through it this year. These 5-star reads really show how much I went through it this year. Like, honestly, a crime. Yeah. I got a TikTok this morning. The first thing was a Prim edit. I sobbed. Evil. Yeah. Hunger Games is back with a vengeance, and I'm loving every moment, and I'm hating it as well because my mental health doesn't deserve that. You know? Like, this fandom is a prison. I was like, I just woke up. Like, my coffee is still being made. I know. No, do you know what was the worst? Someone, I forget what edit it was, but I saw like the most depressing edit on my birthday. And I literally comment being like, it's my birthday. Why would you post this? And they were like, no, you're the second person who's commented that it's your birthday. And I was like, yeah, it was rude, actually. It was rude. These were my ratings. Generally, lowest rated book was 3 stars. So like last year was a good reading year. I need to reread the series, then get to the new one. Yeah, like definitely go through some suffering one more time and then read the new one. And then you'll suffer so immensely you're never gonna recover again. And I literally needed to breathe into a bag when I like like Susanna. Fun. I don't think I rated any of my books last year, or I did. I have zero memory of doing so. Fair enough. I've gotten more okay with rating books. I used to be like really stressed about it. I mean, I wasn't on an reading app before, but even the thought of rating a book would stress me out. But now I'm more chill about it. I don't rate my nonfictions. And I like that Storygraph has quarter-star ratings because then I can rate, because it makes it easier for me to rate things because of the quarter-star ratings. But I rated a lot of book 5 stars this year. Like I had a really good reading year. And the fact that my lowest was 3 stars is great. My highest average in February was 5 stars, which is awesome. And May, my average was 3. Most pages read were in September, and that was when I read all the graphic novels, so that makes sense. Uh-oh! Ad break. We will continue talking about stats after ads. What's your rating system? I'm always curious to hear other people's. Honestly, Cindy, my rating system is vibes. I'll go into more detail when the ad break's done so everyone can hear. I'm rethinking this 1.5 star rating. I might have been too nice. I feel bad giving things bad ratings. That's so valid. After this comes back, I'm going to show you guys the lowest rated books on my Storygraph. And then if you, again, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to show you my lowest rated books. And if you like any of these books, it's not a slight on you, okay? You're allowed to like something I don't. So if any of my lowest rated books, you're like, oh, I really love that book. It's okay. It's nothing against you, okay? I promise. Okay. Can we handle that? I'm just like always so scared of hurting someone's feelings, you know? But yeah, it's really vibes. My ratings, like I'll talk a little bit about it. But honestly, it's mostly vibes. Like I'm like at the end of a book, how do I feel? And sometimes I wait a little bit. Like sometimes I need like a day to rate a book. I feel like we're having an intervention. I just like I said, I don't know any of your least favorite books and favorite books. So I'm just like, if you see something on here that I rated super low and you're like, oh, that's my favorite book of all time, I deeply apologize. And it's not personal, I promise, okay? It's not personal. It's not personal. And I love that you love it. And I'm sorry if I hate on your favorite thing. Yeah. So when the ad break gets back, I'll talk about that. Like I said, I don't even know. It might be like everyone's like, I've never heard of any of these books. This is so funny. I just like don't want to hurt anyone's feelings and being like, this was the worst book I've ever written in my life and shouldn't exist. And someone comes being like, oh, I really love this book. And I'm like, I love you. And I'm sorry. Okay, the ad breaks back. So first, let me respond to Disney. I'm rethinking the 1.5 star rating. I might have been too nice. I feel bad giving things bad ratings. I also generally feel bad, so I get it. You're gonna see shortly the lowest rated book. The lowest rated book I've ever rated on Storygraph, I rated 0.25 stars. Because I felt 0 would be less insulting. Right? Like 0 was less insulting than 0.25. 0.25 just like feels more insulting to me, right? Like you wrote a book. Okay, I'll give you 0.25. Like that's what 0.25 feels like. And that's what I... Okay, so we're gonna finish reading through these stats and then I'm gonna show you my lowest rated books. And I'm sorry if any of your favorite books are on there. No, like you get it, right? 0.25 just seems like more insulting. Because that's how mad this book made me. I was fuming. I was furious. Okay. So my most logged book, like books that a lot of other people read this year, was People We Meet on Vacation. 0 stars for effort, literally. Which makes sense because the movie's coming out this year, so it makes sense that a lot of people read that. And least liked book was The Chartreuse, which makes sense because it's a short story that was like in the New Yorker, I think, so it's not going to be a super logged book. And then highest rated from other people was Sunrise on Reaping, which checks out. That makes sense to me. I explored 15 new authors. Ooh. 15 of the books you read were part of a series, in a shock to nobody. It was only new stories, no rereads. I completed a reading challenge. And then here's my books at a glance, which we went through all of them. Yeah, as far as moods, the highest mood was emotional. I think that's funny that it went emotional and then funny and dark are in the same amount. Like, I don't know what that says about me. That funny and dark have the same value. Like, but emotional makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we have adventurous. Okay. Tense, hopeful, where? Challenging, lighthearted, where? Sad, mysterious, reflective, informative. Pace was medium to fast. Page numbers, mostly 300 to 500. I only read one nonfiction book last year. The mood genre always trips me up on some of the books because some books I'm like, how is this book that? Totally fair. It means we like to make fun of our depression. Honestly, Cindy, like, yes, correct. And then we already talked about the genres. But I guess this goes a little more depth. We've got young adult, contemporary, historical, and then classics, LGBTQIA+, literary, dystopian, short stories. And then, yeah, I read only the short stories were digital. Everything else was print. And then one audio nonfiction. We already went through these ones. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to go to my lowest rated books. This is going to be really funny. Reviews. Oh, can I like just find the lowest? Okay. This is how I do it. Hi, Dagmer. Nearly missed stream. Let me grab headphones. All good. We're still here. So yeah, the lowest rated book I've ever rated is Behind Her Eyes. I'm so bad at putting the correct format of books I'm reading. I told Alex this is my goal for this year, logging it more accurately. That's fair. I think when I first logged my books, I was bad with it. But I've gotten better since. And now I usually just put in the ISBN instead of the title so that it's easier to find the edition. So this is the lowest I've ever rated a book, 0.25 stars. The book is Behind Her Eyes. I hate this book so much. Never heard of that one. Okay, great. So I can... Like, I'm sorry. What do you mean it's bloody brilliant? What? It's stupid. Great news, Trina. I'm not hurt. I don't know this book. Perfect. Because I'm glad you don't know it, because your life is infinitely better with not knowing it. This was the dumbest book I've ever read in my life. The TV show adaptation on Netflix is a very accurate adaptation, which means the show is equally as bad. You know what I mean? Like it's exactly an adaptation. Like it's basically a 1-to-1 adaptation, which means the show is equally as bad. But if you want to go on a wild ride and you're like, I want to watch the worst thing I've ever watched, feel free to watch the show. I read too much, track what I read. That's fair. It's not for everyone. Is it bad that I want to read it now? Like, your bad rating got me curious. Honestly, Disney, if you want to hate your life for a little bit, like, feel free to. I wouldn't recommend, but I hate this book so much. I hate this book so much. It's the stupidest thing I've ever read in my life. It's like, you'll never see the twist ending coming. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't make it good. Okay. So here's my thing. Okay. Just because there's a twist that you didn't see coming doesn't mean the twist is good. Okay, there's good twists that happen that you don't see coming and you're like, oh my god, that was brilliant. Okay, but a twist existing that no one sees coming, sometimes you didn't see it coming because it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes you didn't see it coming because it's the dumbest twist. Hating life sounds perfect for me. It's to the point now that 90% of the time I don't even know the title of the book I'm reading. Oh my god. Say it louder for the peeps in the back. No, thank you. Because I'm sorry. Not seeing a twist coming doesn't mean it's good. Sometimes I've seen the twist coming and I've thought it was way better than books that I didn't, because it meant that there were things in place to make that twist make sense and make it good for the story and relevant, right? Whereas a twist that's just like, we're gonna throw just the most batshit, like, it's just... This book is kind of magical realism. Is like the closest magical realism thriller. Like, it's not all just what humans experience. But the author of the book I'm reading for book club did a thing that you'd think, OMG, that's so cool, but like, no, it's not. They didn't do that thing well. Oh no. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, just because I didn't see that twist coming because no one could, because it wasn't a twist. It was just a bad choice. It was just like, Stephen King, what are you talking about? It's not brilliant, Stephen King. I'm sorry. It's not. It shouldn't exist. Deserves its warning label for the ingenious to die for a twist? No, it deserves a warning label for the stupidest twist I've ever read in my life. Okay. Guana? Sorry, I don't know what that means. Yeah. One book I read a long time ago where a twist was that someone was a cannibal, and I was like, what? Okay, do you know what's really funny? One time I was watching a movie and I was so convinced that the twist would be cannibalism. Like, I'm watching this movie with my friend and I'm like, it's gonna be cannibalism. The twist is like, I am like so convinced. And she's like, where are you getting this from? And I'm telling her all our theories. And I'm like, my theories and like why the twist is cannibalism. And I'm like, she's like, I think you're losing it. And I'm like, listen, there's been a lot of books and movies coming out about cannibalism recently, so it's been on my mind. That's a weird thing to say on the internet. Anyways, I was so convinced that the twist would be cannibalism. It wasn't. It wasn't. I honestly think in that specific movie, it would have been brilliant if the twist were cannibalism. Personally, I like. But, you know, Trina rants about books she hates and chat's taking notes like, I need to read it now. Roughly how fast should I run to outrun you? Are you trying to describe a book right now? Phil hates reading books with me sometimes because tinfoil hat too hard and sometimes guess the endings. Casual cannibalism wasn't on my 2026 benzo card, but here we are. Listen, it would have made sense. And I think this movie came out like in the same year like Bones and All came out, and when a lot of people were talking about Tender as the Flesh. And so I was like, the twist has to be cannibalism. It wasn't. Okay, it wasn't. It wasn't even remotely close to cannibalism. I would hardly call it a twist, but I was so convinced. I was like watching this movie, I was like, it's gonna be cannibalism. My friend's just like losing her mind, being like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, it's always cannibalism. No, AI is bad. You don't wish there was an AI that would find you books to read. You go on book blogger websites and they will help you, because then it's not bad for the environment. Storygraph actually is really good about how they do their recommendations, because there is a recommendation section. Anyways, so that's the worst book I've ever read in my life. So let's go to our 1-star category. I picture you in the front of the whiteboard with all the red strings losing your mind. Literally. Literally. Is that the only book in there? Like I said, I'm kind of nice in my book ratings. I should be meaner. But this was the last book in the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogies. I'm talking about just an algorithm. I don't need something that can talk to me. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's different. Like, it's like ML versus LMM. The other type of AI, not the generative AI, you know? I do look at blogs, but people blogging aren't exactly me. That's fair. I feel like the only way to accurately rate my reads is to have a tier list. That's the thing. Oh, yeah. So Cindy asked how I rate books. Generally, the answer is vibes. So this is the second lowest book I've ever rated, and I still think this is too nice. It was the last book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series, the books. The books are bad, okay? The books are really bad. Like, I think I was too nice to the first two, and like they should have been in the 1 stars. But the books are really bad, especially the last one. It's so bad. Like, it feels like something I would have written on Tumblr when I was like 12. It's bad. It's really bad. And I really liked her other series, To All the Boys, but woof. So now let's go here, because there's some books in here that I probably could rate lower. So yeah, the other 2 Summer I Turned Pretty books are in the 2-ish stars. And then, yeah, we've got some Sarah J. Maas in the 2-ish stars. I don't really support her anymore. But I actually really liked the first book in this series, but I hated the second one. But yeah, I don't really support her anymore because apparently she's a big Zionist. And also she used the death of a black woman to promote her book. So that was like, ugh. So, and 13 Reasons Why is just like very problematic. I feel like the only way to accurately, yeah. I'm a big Sarah J. Maas hater. I will say, like, when I read her books when I was in like the biggest reading slump of my life, like right after undergrad, and then I got a bit older and like I looked back on it and I was like, she's kind of problematic. So like I have a very different relationship to them now than I did. I really like Akatar, but never read her other work. I hear her writing isn't that great though. Like, it's all similar. It really is. Like, it's one of those, like, because I read it fresh out of undergrad, like, I did love Akatar when I read it because I read it literally fresh out of undergrad. I hadn't read a book in that was for fun for so long. I hadn't read a book that was for fun for so long. So I needed something that was fast paced. And then after I started reading more fantasy, I was like, oh, it was like one of those moments where I was like, oh, now that I look back. But one of the worst things she did was, because I did love Akatar when I read it, but again, I hadn't read anything in so long. So at the time, it was just like, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how your perspective changes as you grow up. But I did at first really like the first book in her Crescent City series, but then I hated the second one. And yeah, it's become like all the same. It's really become all the same. And then yeah, she like literally used the death of Breonna Taylor to promote her book, and I was like, girl. I didn't even know there was controversy, but that makes more sense. Even though I have a TBR stack on my nightstand, I always go by vibes, which is what I want to read next. I can't force myself to read something I'm not in the mood for. I'm such a mood reader too. Like, it doesn't matter how big my TBR list is. I'm like, oh, I've had this book on my TBR for like 3 years. If I'm not in the mood for it, I'm not in the mood. My e-reader keeps recommending it when it's like, stop. I hear her books are baby fantasy, which is perfect for me because fantasy is rough for me to read. It's very flowery, wordy. Totally. And like, I do think like, I don't think there's anything wrong with baby fantasy, but I do think there's better baby fantasy books out there. This sounds such a weird sentence, but like I've heard a lot of people like Rachel Gillig, the Divine Rivals author, The Night and the Moth. You could try Erin E. Craig, or if you like the spooky stuff, Erin E. Craig is like almost horror fantasies, more leaning in on the scary stuff. And there's also oh, what's the name of that book? Hi, Alter. There's also who am I thinking of? Ava Reed might be one that you like. Where it's like, it's not like so much of a heavy fantasy world. It's readable, but the authors are also just like a little better as people. Let me think. Who else can I think of that's kind of in that? I think I always suggest to people like that struggle with fantasy to start with like young adult fantasy, because it's just a little easier to digest. Magical realism is either the most emotional, deep, etc., or it's garbage. Yeah, I do. Well, that's the thing with Behind Her Eyes. I hated Behind Her Eyes, but I have liked magical realism in the past. Like, I think it can be done beautifully and incredibly, but it really has to be done well. How you doing, Alter? It's good to see you. But now let's go more positive and look at the highest rated books I've rated. I heard good things about Ava Reed. Still want to check her out. She's really good. Okay, to be fair, I say she's really good. I've only read one of her books. I read A Study in Drowning, which I really liked. My favorite of the year would probably be Class's Magical Realism. What was your favorite of the year? Good to see you. Hope you're well. I am well. I hope you are too. Let's go more positive and go to my 5-star reads. We're gonna go down to the bottom because you've seen the more recent one. And okay, so I'm gonna also give this disclaimer that my rating system is really based on vibes, and I'm trying to be a little more because here's the thing, I think critically and I can have a critical conversation. However, when it comes to rating things, it's just vibes. I saw Looking for Alaska. Phil loves that book. That's literally, I read it when I was like 15 and it has a chokehold of my life that will never leave. And I reread it in undergrad. Grad school. I reread it in grad school. Because I reread it in grad school because the TV show was coming out and I love the TV show. What's wrong with Vita Nostra? I've heard great things about that book. Nothing to come for you. I've heard really good things about that book. And like we were saying, we don't book shame here. I've heard great things about that book. It's actually been on my radar. So yeah. It looks fantastic. Same. I feel like some people have an elaborate system and I'm just like, that's the thing with my five, here's the thing. I feel like my 5-star ratings are a feeling. Metric vibes or American vibes. I'm sure that was referencing something and then I lost where the conversation was. So now I'm not sure what that was referencing. My 5-star ratings are much more a feeling than like an actual analysis. I feel like 4-star ratings, I'm able to analyze more, but 5-star ratings are a feeling. Like I can even look at some of the books I rate 5 stars and be like, objectively, I can see where this book can have improvements, but the way it makes me feel is unmatched. And so it gets 5 stars regardless. Does that make sense? Looking for Alaska is such a good book. My sister and I loved it. We both still need to watch the show. The show is really good. It's a really good adaptation. Rating system based on vibes. Just wondering what kind of vibe measurements. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Because like some of these books, it's like, if you criticize them, I'll be like, yeah, I don't disagree. But I can't replicate how it made me feel, and so it gets 5 stars. I'm Dutch. Everyone book shame me here. Luckily, it also means the judgment doesn't really go deep, you know? Yeah, absolutely. But no, we're not book shamers here. Like what you like, honestly. I think I was introduced to John Green too late to appreciate him like others do. I've read a lot of his books. Yeah, I think that's fair because like I was introduced to him as a teenager, so it was like kind of game changing for me. But I can understand if you were introduced to him a little older, why it wouldn't hit as hard. But my favorites by him are Looking for Alaska and Turtles All the Way Down. I love those 2 books with my whole heart. But yeah, let's do so 5 stars. We've already talked about Babel. Hello, Emmett. Is there a book tier for fictional book about potats? Unfortunately, I don't think that tier list exists. I still like the HP books, even author makes me sick, so I don't book shame either. Yeah, we generally like have a no HP book discussion in here, Alter. And I know like you're actively saying the author sucks, which I appreciate. But that is one kind of line I have because she's just done so much harm towards the trans community. And I do just have that line here. Yeah, we just avoid talking about the wizard books here because I don't want anyone to feel like they don't belong. H.P. Lovecraft. Well, I didn't want to say the name of the author intentionally. Quite ironic how she turned out to be the one who shall not be named. Yeah. No, but that's why I just said H.P. because I didn't want to. Yeah. We hate her. We hate her. And it like goes beyond said things, right? Like it's also about legislation she's changed to like directly impact trans folks, right? Like it's not, it goes so beyond disgusting things, it goes to disgusting actions, and like that's why I just kind of have a strict rule here with it. H.P. Lovecraft was also kind of a terrible person. Hated, double hate, loathe entirely. Yup. No need to tell me I'm part of the trans community. Valid. Well, you are welcome here. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Most humans are terrible people, sadly. I do love the fanfic community because they all hate her making trans characters for the sake of it. I do get it, but also part of me is like, as long as we're keeping her IP relevant, like that's gonna draw more attention to her as well, right? Like, I'm not talking about people that wrote fanfic ages ago, but I mean like, as far as new things coming out, it's kind of like, for me, it's like, if you're keeping her IP relevant, then like she's only going to continue to grow and she's only going to make more money. So like, even though it might seem like, oh, this is like completely separate and like she doesn't get anything from this, unfortunately that kind of stuff still boosts algorithms, right? It still gets her name continued to be out there, and keeping things relevant is what leads to things like all these opportunities she's continuing to get. And that's why even with fanfic, I'm like, I understand the want to reclaim things. But even that sort, any publicity is good publicity. Exactly what Cindy says. The thing is like, you know, with the new audiobooks and the TV series, it's like all this stuff is happening, and anything that's said about her, even like this, it's good for her and she thrives off of it. And I'm being like as gentle as possible with this because I'm not, you know, like I acknowledge like everyone in here is like very much fully aware that they hate her. But it's just a gentle reminder that even with things that seem unrelated, often it could be a lot more related than you think it will be. Yeah. That said, can we throw some trans heart emotes into chat?
Now is the time to
Because you are welcome here. Yes. Panic. Okay, so for the 5 stars, I've already talked y'all's ear off about Babel. I think everyone and their cousin needs to read this book. It's so good. Circe by Madeline Miller. I love Greek mythology. I love mythology, as a lot of you know. And I love books that are mythology retellings. And I love Circe so much. And I love Madeline Miller. And I'm pretty sure she's working on a Hades and Persephone book. And I think if anyone can give that the nuance and care that it deserves, it's Madeline Miller. I did enjoy Song of Achilles too, but I did like Circe better. But I love both, but I did love like Circe better. Obviously Catching Fire, all the Hunger Games books are in here. If We Were Villains was like one of my favorite Be Gay Do Crime books. Like if you're looking for a book that's screaming dark academia with theater kids and also Be Gay Do Crime, If We Were Villains is the book for you. Like it's literally theater kids, dark academia, Be Gay Do Crime. I don't think I've read any of these yet. Well, it's never too late. Help, how do I get the Pride hand on mobile? It should be in your emotes because it's a universal emote. But you can also just use !pride in chat and it'll pop up. But if you scroll down to the universal section of your emotes, it should pop up. There you go. But yeah, theater kids, academia, be gay, do crime. What more can you want? Heartstopper, I love all the Heartstopper books. Not all of them are in the 5 stars, but 4 was definitely a 5-star read for me. If We Were Villains is still chilling on my physical TBR, but I want to read that. I had such a great time. And If We Were Villains is truly one of those books where it's like, I can acknowledge there's flaws in that book, and I don't care. It's still 5 stars. That's one of those books where I was talking about earlier, where it's like, I can acknowledge the flaws and it's still 5 stars because of how it made me feel. I had a great time with that book. I think I told you before, but Hunger Games gets reread every couple years here and watched once a year. Yes, you did. Those books are truly like timeless. And I was concerned when the new ones were announced, right? Because like I struggle when things get announced like so long after the series, but they were both so good. Dage, yes. Okay, so my favorite lighthearted things to recommend. First, Heartstopper. Literally, the 4th book is a little more. You might need to look up some trigger warnings, but generally, it's a super lighthearted, lovely queer romance graphic novel series. What I love is that the new ones are so good. Like, totally not a cash grab. No, totally. And like, she even openly said, like, I write books when I have something to say. Like, I will never publish a book unless I'm trying to say something. And oh my god, like Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was disgusting to read, and I mean that in all praise. And I think the movie did a disservice by making Snow so much more empathetic in the movie than he was in the book. Like, I think the casting was good, and I think the actors did the best they could with the material, but I do think they should have made him much more of a monster like he is in the book. I'm still waiting on the book, The Great Potato War of 2025. Maybe I'll write that for. Yeah, I hated the way the movie made him likable. Absolutely. So lighthearted, Heartstopper, all of the volumes. Also, The Rosie Project. It's a trilogy. I've only read the first 2. But The Rosie Project is something I recommend to everyone who wants something like lighthearted and fun. I love those books so much. Let me write these down in chat. Rosie Project. Heartstopper. I'm going to keep going as I go down the book list, because I think going down this book list will help me think of more lighthearted reads. But these 2 for sure. The Rosie Project and Heartstopper. These are all on my TBR. Yes. Yeah, you gotta read Heartstopper. They're so good. But yeah, the movie made him weird. Like, I was like, what are you doing? Because like Suzanne, like, her whole point was that no, he's always been a terrible person. And I think it's a disservice when people try to make dictators and fascists make us be like, aw, poor fascies. Like, no, we should never be saying, aw, poor fascies, you know? Like, like, that's the point. And like, she was so clear with that in the book. So I was like, movie, what are you doing? Like, I thought it was casted really well. I love Rachel Zegler. But yeah, like, it was, they really tried to empathize with him too much. It was weird. Okay, Tear. Erica McKean's an old friend of mine, actually. We were in grade school together. I don't really read horror because I'm a baby and I'm scared of everything, but I did read this because she's my friend. It was fantastic. It scared the bejeebers out of me. I don't know if I can ever read it again, but I wanted to die after I read that book. It was literally one of the scariest things I've ever read in my life. To be clear, I'm very much scared of everything, so maybe you'll be fine. But this book was so scary. I don't really read horror, but it's funny because I have friends that love horror that were like, I can't believe you actually read that book. Like, that's actually a top tier horror. I suck with kinds of horror that are made to scare you. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's not like a jump scare horror. It's like, it's more like yellow wallpaper, like descent into madness, commentary on isolation and loneliness. And I think that's what makes it so scary. Like, it's the body stuff, it's the thought spirals, it's the feeling of like losing yourself so completely and any understanding of who you are. Like, it's a very unique speculative type of horror, and I think that's why I loved it, because it scared me, but like it was brilliant. But yeah, a friend of mine's the author, so I do recommend it. My Dark Vanessa is a very difficult read. It's about grooming, so recommend with the grain of salt that this is not a light fluffy read. We already talked about Looking for Alaska. I really liked Hank's duology too, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, though it did feel like Black Mirror. Both of them felt like Black Mirror. I'm fine with psychological horror. I love it, actually, but not anything where they're being chased by a weird thing that hear noise. Yeah. Tears, definitely not, like, I shouldn't even say. It's very much more body horror. I don't do well with horror in general, so it was still a lot for me. But it is more psychological, but there is quite a bit of body horror, I will say. There aren't, like, weird creatures in the night. Well, there are. It's really hard to talk about this book without spoiling it, but it's different. It's very different. I really liked both An Absolutely Remarkable. There is enough for me. I wouldn't even say there are. That's the weird thing. It's like the main character is the creature, because it's her own internal descent into madness kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not a book that I would have picked up if I didn't know the author, because I'm so scared of everything, but it is a fantastic book, and I'm glad I read it. But it's also really scary. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing and its sequel are very much like Black Mirror vibes. So not lighthearted. I'm still only 2 for 2 for lighthearted book, Stage Mirror. I'm recognizing this, but we're still going through this. Maybe we'll find one. The Way I Used to Be, also very much not lighthearted. This book hurts. This one hurts. This one hurts. This one hurts. This one's too real. This one is very much too real to me specifically, and that's all I'll say about that. That Hank Green one is also on my TBR. It's very good. History Is All You Left Me broke me and destroyed me and killed me and threw me off a cliff. I know you'll see a pattern with my favorite books. And it's that they end me. You know? I love the Six of Crows duology, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Truly one of my favorite fantasy duologies of all time. I love those books so much. I love those characters so much. They bring me so much joy and pain. Not the same type of pain as like Poppy War. It's a different type of pain, but oh my God, I love those 2 books so much. Yeah. I got like 2 chapters into Crooked Kingdom before my friend's dog ruined the book. Oh, Tara, that's tragic. That's tragic. That is so tragic. I'm so sorry. Crooked Kingdom is like the best sequel I've ever read in my life. Like, it's so good. I'm so sorry. I mentioned Turtles All the Way Down. That and Looking for Alaska are my favorite John Green books. I always tell people to like be in a good place to read Turtles All the Way Down specifically because the main character has OCD and John Green has OCD, and he very much brings his type of OCD into the book. But if you're someone who deals with not just OCD but any kind of anxiety, this book will get you, because you're literally in her head as she's experiencing thought spirals. So if you experience any kind of thought-based, spiraling-based anxiety, this book could be very triggering for you. And it was for me. I was actually in an okay place when I read it. So, but like, you really have to go into that book carefully. I haven't brought myself to read it again yet. That's fair. Not for me. That's okay. The Hate You Give is another book that I'd say, I write that type of stuff into my book, not gonna lie. The Hate You Give is another book that I think everyone should read. I think The Hate You Give should be taught in schools, honestly. It's about police brutality in the US, especially towards Black boys. And the main character witnesses her Black friend get shot by a police officer, and it's about the aftermath and that, and the how the media phrases things. And yeah, it's chilling. It's bone chilling. It's really good. A List of Cages is really good, but it does tackle child abuse, so be warned. Okay, we're getting back to light fluffy things. Okay, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda and Fangirl. Both of those are lighter. I'm gonna write them both in chat. Once again, glad that I'm not from the US. At least our police isn't the racist group. Yeah, Canada, I'm in Canada. We have really bad racism in our police as well. Canada's just really good at having a good reputation without actually having the history to back up our reputation. Wish I could move out. That's totally fair. Totally fair. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda is just a really adorable gay romance, young adult, and it's just really cute and lovely, and yeah, it brings me joy. Fangirl is about me. So the thing about Fangirl, and I tell this to people, like, Canadians threaten Collabama Bear. They're dangerous and violent people. Alter, are you Collabama Bear? Is Alter Collabama Bear? I still don't know. So Fangirl is about me. Why would you think I'm Collabama Bear? Because you just brought Collabama Bear up and then you did the emote that Collabama Bear always does. Collabama Bear always does that emote, so why am I supposed to think you're not Collabama Bear? Fangirl has always been on my TBR for ages. Oh, I love this book. My friend actually annotated it for me for my 30th birthday. I don't recommend it often because it's like very deeply personal. And like you might read it and be like, why is Trina like so destroyed by this book? But it's because the main character is very similar to how I was in my first year of university. Like, outed by emo usage. I know now. I found out. I'm so happy. I won't tell anyone. Everyone in chat might know now, but your secret's safe with me. Well, you did a great job. You did a great job with this ruse, and I'm impressed. But yeah, the main character in Fangirl is very, very much like how I was in my first year of university. So this book just like hit me very hard because I related to it a little too much. And like, I won't go into specifics, but there's certain things she does in this book that like I've done those exact things. So it really felt like the author followed me around in my first year of university. So yeah, it was like deeply personal, but it is like, I feel like most people would read it and be like, oh, that's a fun, cute read, which is why I'm recommending it. But for me, I was like, oh no, I'm being perceived. But it's great. First stream was supposed to be this week, but computer died. I've just been writing down the titles to add to the list. Nice. Words on Bathroom Walls is the most accurate depiction of schizophrenia I've ever seen in a book before. Like most depictions of schizophrenia in media are terrible and super stigmatizing and awful, but like this book did such an incredible job at depicting it. And the movie also was really good. The movie's really good too. But yeah, I was really blown away by this book. And seeing that kind of representation on an illness that's extremely misunderstood. Children of Blood and Bone. I haven't read the sequels yet, but I loved this fantasy. It's based on African mythology, and it's very like Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes, with the magic system. And I love it. I loved it. I love this book. Behind You was also very real. Canadian author. Read that one. Nice. Behind You is by a Canadian author who I've met, and she's lovely. And this book followed a very like an actual so it wasn't about it. How do I describe this? It's kind of a critique on true crime by talking about the impacts on people that live in the environments where these things are being talked about, and how often we will uplift the perpetrators of these horrific crimes for the sake of entertainment by making like these TV shows based on them and stuff. And so this is about like the impacts of there was a very famous case in Ontario that really shook the province of this killer. And yeah, it's a work of fiction, but it really explores what it's like to actually experience that fear and how distressing it is to see this attention brought on perpetrators that seems almost like something they'd want, you know? It's very good. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, as you know, Hunger Games, Mockingjay, all the Hunger Games are in here. Again, we've got Heartstopper Volume 1. And we've got Perks of Being a Wallflower, which will always have a chokehold on me, and I can't talk about it actually, but I love that book, and I love the movie, and oh my god, I love. So this next one we're not going to talk about, okay? We're not going to... There's a few in here we're not going to talk about. There's a few in here that I read when I was very young, and them being on this list doesn't mean I'm recommending them, okay? So we're just gonna understand that. Okay. Yes, we do love Perks of Being a Wallflower. So we're just gonna understand these next two. Which book are we not talking about? So The Raven King is the second book. Good. It's the second book in the Foxhole Court trilogy, the All for the Game trilogy. It's gay mafia sports. I was on Tumblr in the 2010s. Okay? I was on Tumblr in the 2010s. And the Foxhole Court trilogy was We listen and we don't judge. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so you don't do gay mafia sports? Actually, Disney, you go ahead and read it. You go ahead and read it, Disney. You're allowed to read it, actually. I've seen the books you read. You're allowed to read this one. So, yeah, so the Foxhole Court trilogy, I haven't read them since I read them. And I don't think I ever can. I was on Tumblr is all I need to hear. Same girl, same. Yeah, I don't know if I can ever read these books again because, like, I don't know if I read them now, I think they're good, is the thing. Like, I don't know if I read them now if I'd think they're good. But what I do know is, you know that she released more books? And I haven't read them, but boy, have I considered it. Boy, have I considered reading the spin-off series. Oh my god, have I considered. And, like, now that I've watched Heated Rivalry, I'm like, I could use more gay sports. This also has mafia, but, like, you know. There shouldn't be an ad break right now. I need to make an alt story graph. I must hide my shame. There is no shame here, Disney. There is no shame. There shouldn't be an ad break here. I don't see an ad break. Yeah. And then we have Clockwork Prince, which, again, the Infernal Devices series had a chokehold on me when I was like 16, okay? And I think about this trilogy every day. And, like, again, if I read it now, who knows if I'd actually think it's that good. But again, it meant a lot to me when I was 15, and so it stays there. I forget Finsta accounts. We did the Storygraph version. Why am I randomly getting ads? I haven't been getting ads for like a few months now. That's very strange. I don't know. And we aren't even on an ad break. So weird. Storygraph Finsta. I love it. My mom likes Cassandra Clare for some reason. Listen, she's very much for the teens on Tumblr. And I was a teen on Tumblr. And the thing is, when she released the series that was following the characters from these, years later, when I hadn't picked up one of her books in like a decade, did I read it? Yes. Did I like it? The first two, yes. The third one was terrible. Which made me sad, because I really liked the first two. And it really put me back in the chokehold that this series had on me. But unfortunately, the third one didn't hit. My mom is not on Tumblr nor a teen, but she might just have the spirit of a teen on Tumblr, and I love that for her. The review, This Is America, is cracking me up. Yeah. Speak, also fantastic book, another young adult book that is way too real. It's way too real. I can't talk about it. Chain Gang All-Stars, it's literally, okay, now there's an ad starting in 3 minutes. There's a ad that's going to be in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, there'll be an ad break. Okay, in 3 minutes, there will be an ad break. Chain Gang All-Stars, have you ever thought what would happen if you mixed? What would happen if you mixed the Hunger Games and Squid Games and put it into the US prison system? You get the US prison system, but jokes aside, yeah. Let's see if I get another. It'll be interesting. Yeah, if you get an ad, you got an ad not during the ad break. If you mix chains and gangs, oh, never mind. Yeah, this book did a number on me. And then obviously Sunrise on the Reaping, obviously The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, the story I mentioned, The Poppy War. That sounds like the US. Oh, you made the joke already. Yep. Yeah, I made the joke already. I did. I did. You know, The Poppy War and The Dragon Republic. You know, we talked about all these books already. Hello, Lynn. Welcome. It's good to see you. You made it. And then, yeah, we have the Lore Olympus books. And then this was my last 5-star read. I have not read Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I've seen it everywhere. Should I read it? Oh, book yapping. I finally almost done with Sunrise on the Reaping. Lynn, make sure to have an inhaler with you when you finish the last few chapters. Make sure to get a bag that's beside you for you to breathe into. Make sure that you yeah. So then my final 5-star review, my most recent 5-star read was The Burning God, and my review is it's okay. I didn't need to be happy again ever anyways. So that's 5 stars. So ad is in 39 seconds. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah. I rated it 5 stars. I wouldn't say I had a good time, but it was a great time, you know? It's a mix of Hunger Games and D&D, but like funny and also not. Interesting. That sounds awesome. The review is cracking me up. Yeah, I either just rate the book and call it a day, or rate and then write a 1-sentence unhinged review. Is this Storygraph? Yes, it is. If you're on Storygraph, feel free to add me, Lynn. Okay, there's going to be an ad break in like a second, but it doesn't actually ever go in the second where we say it. It'll like say in 1 second. I will never read A Little Life, Disney. Sorry, I just went on this rant like earlier in the stream. It was before you came here. It was before you came in. And I literally went like on a 30-minute rant. Just check out the VOD later. You'll see it. I was already on the page waiting to add you if you said it was okay. Yeah. You can add me on Storygraph. Yeah, the ad break will happen. I'll watch the VOD then. Yeah. It'll happen. It always just says, yeah, watch the VOD. I do talk about it. I haven't read it and I will not read it. Gotta go settle in. BRB sounds good. Yes, I do like books that break my soul, but within reason, and when the author isn't low-key terrible, and it isn't trauma corn. Did I have a good time? No. Is it 5 stars? Yes. Literally me with all my 5-star ratings. Did I have a good time? No. Okay, now there's an ad break happening now. I don't need within reason, but the other ones for sure. But yeah, check. I'm just writing this in the chat for those that got added. Out the VOD if you want to see my rant on why I will not read A Little Life. If it makes you feel better, I DNF'd the book because it was too much and had a trigger that I did not want to read. No, that's so valid. And because I was saying, like, the trigger warnings is yes. Like, is there a possible... yes. The answer is yes. If you're like, what are the trigger warnings? You reply with yes. And... so the thing is, so how do you feel about 1,000 Splendid Suns? I read that book when I was a teenager and I loved it. It was traumatizing, but I loved it. But it's been a very long time since I've read it. A very long time. That's a lie. There are indeed some triggers I will not read regardless of anything. They're just not commonly seen as triggering. That's fair. That's fair. Everyone has different ones. Yes, I have read A Thousand Splendid Suns, but it was a long time ago. Maybe I have read it and did like it, even though it's traumatized, but it was back in high school. Remember a ton. The ad break will be done in 8 seconds, so maybe the video will be better than when the ad break is done. But yeah, so ad break is done. Welcome back. Yeah, so the thing is with my like traumatizing books is my rule is it has to have a point. So like when I talk about books that are like super depressing or sad or have like a lot of dark stuff in it, it always has to have a point. Very, very sad, but very good. Yeah. Absolutely. I read it literally like over a decade ago, probably like 15 years ago, honestly. But it was fantastic. But very, very sad. But again, it's a book where the sad things that happen have a point. And that's why I think it's different than something that like A Little Life, because something like the Poppy War, like Chain Gang All-Stars, like all the terrible things that happen in those books are based on actual historical events that have happened in real life and are making a point being like, history is repeating itself and we continue to have history repeat itself, and people don't know about these historical events and they need to be aware of them. I got scared maybe that was a bad author too, because I've been meaning to go. No. He's fine. From what I know, at least. But yeah, like my kind of rule is that like it has to have a point, and like I go into detail earlier in the VOD and you'll see it, but my thing is with A Little Life is that it doesn't sound like it has a point. It was just the author doing as many terrible things as she could do to this gay man. And she even explicitly said, yeah, the message is some people can't be helped. And like, that's a terrible thing to say about mental health. Yeah. So yeah, I don't trust her, and I don't think that she actually wanted to say anything with that book. I think that she just wanted to have a shock value. And I think it's actually like really horrible to call a book like that the gay novel of our time, because there's so many great queer novels out there that are written by queer people that don't exploit harm. But yeah, I went into a little more detail in it. You'll see in the VOD, but my friends and I used to have a book club, and one of my friends picked Little Life. I read the first section and said, nope, I'm out on this, guys. Honestly, so fair. And like, I understand why so many people don't finish it. And like I said, I'm saying all this from the perspective of someone who hasn't read it. So I understand that I can't give a full thought out opinion on it, given that I haven't read it. But I have done so much research about this book and about the author of that book that I'll never read it. Like, I really will never read it. And it just boils down to when I say a book is really sad and depressing, I promise you that none of those scenes I'm talking about in any of those books that I talk about are done for shock value or done to get sales or done to exploit anybody. They're done because these were real things that have happened historically, and that's a message being put across, at least in the ones I've been talking about recently. But in none of the books have I ever, that I talk about, where I'm like, it's depressing 5 stars. It's never been a situation where like I think that there's no reason for those scenes. I'll ask them if there was ever a plot they saw, or if it was like no happiness point. From what I know, like there's truly not a single happy thing that happens, like from start to finish. Like, again, I haven't read it, so I can't tell you, but like from what I know, literally nothing happy happens. Like, there's no glimmer of hope at the end. There's no, oh, there's like help for you. Like, there's nothing. I believe the same thing, but agree not 100% sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's my cutoff. A little line is my cutoff when I say I read things that emotionally destroy me. Because the emotional destroying has to have a point. I can tell you this is very accurate. Yeah, Cindy has read it. But yeah, the emotional destroying has to have a point. And if it doesn't have a point, I don't want it, is how I operate generally. I did read it till the end and cried a lot. I've seen people have like full breakdowns and panic attacks from that book. Like, oh my God, I'm like, and I know I joke about having breakdowns, but never have I actually had a medical emergency because of that any book. Like, I'll make jokes, but I've never actually had a medical emergency from a book. But literally, people have had medical emergencies because of that book, and I feel like there's a lot. There's like, personally, it doesn't have to have a point if it still makes me feel. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can. I think that when we talk about books in here, we always say, like, you're allowed to disagree with me and have your own opinions about it. My problems with the book really stem from the author and the things she said. And I think the things that she believes are the messages that she puts into the book. And for a long time, people gave her the benefit of the doubt, but then she basically came out and confirmed that she believes these things. And yeah, I just think it does that. I think that book has done more harm for the world than good with what I have heard about it. But disclaimer again, I have not read it. Don't do it. I was in a good place when I read it, but if I wasn't, this could have been an issue. Yeah, like, I really think, like, if people are having medical emergencies over reading this book, like, that's, I feel like that, yeah. I'm not gonna do it, and I'm not someone that's gonna ever tell someone they can or can't read something. Like, read what you want, but like, that's why I personally will not read it. Oh no, I didn't know we were talking about a specific author. I just meant in general. It doesn't need to have a point for me without like anything specific. Yeah, like, I was talking specifically about Little Life. And I'm sure there's other examples of other books that I don't think it's as much of a problem, but the things the author puts in this book that don't have a point are actually damaging, which is why we're talking about it for this book. Big reason why I backed out. I'm like, yeah, I'm a depressed girly. I'm not down to read about something that's personally triggering. Yeah. And like, there are some books that I've been triggered by and I've had to like set them down and like pick them up later. But I don't think I've ever read anything where I was like, I don't think at any point in my life I can handle that. But with that book, I don't think at any point in my life I can handle that, truly. But yeah, definitely the best choice. Like, do what's best for you. And I'm glad that you put it down because you were like, no, I don't think this book will be good for me. And I think it's really, really good that you put it down because I think it's hard to do that. But I think it's an important choice to make. Because you gotta do what's good for you, honestly. When it comes to reading, like, you just gotta be kind to yourself with it. I did put it down many times in between to take a breather. Yeah, I mean, fair. I can understand that. Oh my God. Oh my God. But yeah, like, I'm pretty kind in general with my book ratings. I'm going back to that, I realize. So like, you didn't see a ton in those lower ratings. I do think if I was like a little more mean and a little more critical, like, I think I'm critical, but then I feel bad. So there are definitely some books I have in my 3 and above. I wouldn't like within 3. Like, there's definitely books I've given 3 stars or even like 2.5 stars that realistically should go lower, but I just feel guilty, and so then I don't. But I feel like I need to be less guilty. I missed pretty much all the low ratings. There weren't that many, to be fair. There really weren't that many. But yeah, I mean, this VOD will stay on Twitch because there's no music in it, so I don't need to worry about copyright, and it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. But yeah, it's I always feel bad. I'm trying to be less, but I will say I'm also very good at picking books I'll like. So it's rare that I have a book that I really don't like, because I'm pretty good at picking books I'll like. And at the same time, yeah, I feel guilty when I rate things low. I feel guilty. And so there's definitely some things within my 2.5 to 3 star ratings that probably would be lower. I'm very good at finishing books I don't like, so if I DNF, you know it was bad. That's fair. I don't DNF a lot. I pause a lot. Like, there's definitely a lot of times where I'll be like reading something and be like, I think I like this book, but I don't think it's what I'm in the mood for right now. So I'm gonna pause it, pick up something else, and then come back to this book when I'm more in the mood for it. But like I said, I'm pretty good at picking books that I'll like. So I don't really need to DNF very much because of that. And I think also part of that is me being such a mood reader. So like I'm just like, oh, I'm in the mood for this thing. And so I'll pick up something in that, and then I'll obviously just like it more because I was in the mood for it. But plops down with Dins. Welcome. I accidentally DNF a lot. Oh no. I'm having that with Frankenstein at the moment. Like pausing to come back to later when you're in the mood. Frankenstein's definitely one of my favorite classics. But yeah, like I understand you really need to be in the mood for it. I have a few favorite classics. Yeah, I do really like Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights. I like the gothic ones, Rebecca. All my favorite classics are the gothic ones. Speaking of classic horror novels, if you haven't already, you want to read Dracula, you should check out Dracula Daily. Read Dracula. Classics. Dracula Daily. I need some time to get into it, so it's not a book for my commute in the morning because the time is too short. That's fair. Yeah, you really need to sit down with that one. What is Dracula Daily? That's so cool. Dracula Daily is an email newsletter that sends you the novel Dracula in real time as it happens to the characters. That's super cool. And it's also now a physical book. It starts in May, so you have time. That's very cool. I like that concept. That's very, very cool. Classics. Classic. I'm probably gonna read Gideon the Ninth this year. I know. People have been begging me forever. And I'm very excited. I read the synopsis and I was like, I was just like, is there any rail in sight to this book? I don't believe there is. And I'm very excited to know that. Dracula Regarding Dracula is an audio podcast that does the same format, fully and amazingly cast. I'm also on the Read Dracula Discord server, and they're lovely people. That's awesome. There's also a podcast. That's so cool. I love that concept. I think I really like how creative people have been with like telling stories and like revisiting stories in new ways to make them like, whether it's more accessible or just more fun. I love it. Yes, for sure. Oh, about Gideon the Ninth. I'm very excited. Like literally the synopsis, I was like, did someone have a fever dream and write it into a book? Because I'm here for it. I think the same group did a Frankenstein podcast, but I haven't checked it out yet. Cool. I love that. It sounds like, yeah, like classic horror is up their alley, which I think is really cool. Honestly, I've had dreams like that. Yeah, they've done Dracula, Carmilla, and Frankenstein. Nice. Oh, I love that. Carmilla's a great one too. I love all the gothic classics. Those are all my favorites. It's so funny. Like, I like the origins of horror stories, but then I'm too scared to read like now horror stories, you know? It's kind of funny. I watched Get Out and it scared the bejeebies out of me. And then Jordan Peele was like, so if Get Out scared the bejeebies out of you, please don't watch Us. And I was like, okay, I won't. Which I'm glad, because I really don't think I would have been able to handle it. I could barely handle the trailer. I think I stopped watching the trailer, actually. Like, but yeah, I can do gothic, and I can do weird, and I can do cults and strange. It's 1:30 a.m. Oh my god, Dagemer, go to bed. You don't do horror at Disney? I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid of everything. Like, I read my friend's horror book because my friend wrote it. I gotta read the girl, but it's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm so scared. So I read my friend's horror book. It's called Tear. Oh! First book shaming now this. I gotta get up at 6 again. Go to bed! I'm used to getting up at 4 p.m. Okay, let me get the vacuum. Well, at 4 p.m., that would be better. I'm careful. Oh yeah, it doesn't have the thing anymore. Vacky's gonna need emergency surgery, guys. You're welcome, chat. I wouldn't need to get up this early if the streets weren't frozen over. That's fair. Yeah, we've had ice storms for like 2 weeks straight in Canada, and I'm like, this is fine. So yeah, Vacky might need emergency surgery. Vacky's fine, but the little clip that you pressed to get the cord to come back together broke off. So that's annoying. I think I mentioned this before, but my boyfriend is sometimes falling asleep to horror music, like soundtracks and stuff. I could never. That would kill me. That would actually kill me. Is your boyfriend okay? Are they okay? No. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm just scared of everything. And my toxic trait is like, I'll be like, I'm so interested in this plot, but I know if I'll read it, I'll hate my life. It's supposed to get up to 70 this week in Alabama, and I'm so mad. I could fall asleep to literally anything. I wish I could fall asleep to anything. But yeah, so I read my friend's book, Tear. Did I scare you? Because my friend wrote it, and it scared the crap out of me. And like, I have a friend who reads a lot of horror, and she's like, Trina, I'm actually shocked you read this. And I was like, I had a duty to my friend to read it. I hope so. He's putting headphones in so I don't have to hear it. Fair enough. I can't fall asleep to horror music. I can fall asleep to horror music just fine. I'll just dream horror. I hate that. Trina, a real one. Literally, I'm like, my friend wrote this, so I'll read it, but like, Yeah. And I'll read like creepy. Like I thought House of Salt and Sorrows was pretty scary, but then I talked to my friends and they were like, it wasn't scary. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was scared. I was scared. I can't really do horror either. Yeah, I'm just. And then like I did watch Fall of the House of Usher and Midnight Mass because I can do culty stuff. And like I like the premise of Fall of the House of Usher. Like I was like, oh, like Edgar Allan Poe, but the backdrop of the pharmaceutical industry sounds super cool. And like I can do cult stuff, so I watched Midnight Mass. But Hill House, and I don't think I can do Hill House and Bly Manor. I don't think I can do it. Horror, I can't even spell it. I don't know if I can do Hill House and Bly Manor. Lynn, I really don't know if I can do it. Like I want to watch Bly Manor because they're like the gay pain, and I'm like, I want to experience pain, but I don't want to experience horror, you know? I've gotten nightmares from ads for horror movies. I have also gotten nightmares from ads for horror movies. You can't, Trina. Like, I'm scared of everything. Like, I relate to you, Trina. I'm glad. Like, I can do weird and cult and creepy and like borderlining. I can do like surrealist horror where it's like more psychological. I don't even like Hill House, but it's pretty scary in terms of horror. That's what everyone says. Well, everyone says like I don't know a lot of people that don't like it, but that's totally fair. But like everyone's like, "Oh, it's like so beautiful." And it's like such a good story and it's so beautifully shot. And I'm like, "That's great, but will it scare me?" And they're like, "Yeah, it'll terrify you." And I'm like, "Well, and then people are like, Bly Manor is a little less scary. I'm like, okay, but like, are there ghosts and stuff? And they're like, yeah, but they're just like there. Like, it's not as like jump scary. And I'm like, I can do psychological only, even remotely another type of horror, and I'm crying, crying. I one time had friends trick me to go see a horror movie when I was like 14. It was really mean. They made me go see it. I didn't know we were seeing a horror movie. Doctor Who scares me, okay? Listen, that's so real because I watched the first episode of Doctor Who the other day. And I will continue. But the first episode did actually scare me. Like, those mannequins are freaking terrifying. I was like, I thought only people from what I heard, I just need to watch out for the Weeping Angel and then it's going to be all good from there. Other than the Weeping Angels, you're gonna be fine. And then the first episode and the weird mannequin thingies, and I'm like, I'm sorry. You said only Weeping Angels. I will watch any crime doc, no issue, but horror, I'm out. No, literally, same. I was told it wasn't horror. I was lied to. The silence are the scariest things. What is the silence? See, this is the thing. But the thing is, I want to watch Doctor Who. I want to like Doctor Who because I'm a nerd and I grew up on Tumblr during the Super Who Luck phase and I watched The Lock and I don't want to watch the Super because they did Bury Your Gaze but worse, but I want to watch The Who. I had a sleepover at a friend's house when I was 14 and they all wanted to watch House of Wax and I never covered. What is House of Wax? Do not. 41. What is House of Wax? So my friend that wrote that horror book, it checks out because you don't want to know. What do we get the 4-1? Do we get the 411? Everyone says weeping angels are the scariest, but they don't even kill you. The silence are the things you catch from the side of your eye. They creak. The creak you hear in the middle of the night, the shadow you see in the dark. Then they wipe that you ever saw them to begin with. I thought this was a silly, goofy, timey-wimey show. It's a silly, goofy, timey-wimey show with David Tennant. I just want a silly, goofy, timey-wimey show. Okay. You know, no one told me about the silence. Is this what they do? Is this how they get you? They warn you about the weeping angels, and then they'll get you with other things that they won't tell you about. In the show, the actors mark their body with a tally mark to remember they saw them, and next thing they know, they are covered head to toe in tally marks. I'm supposed to eat in 3 minutes. Okay, let's wait till Dagmar has gone to bed and then keep talking. I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding. Dagmar, go to bed! Because it seems I'm a baby, but it seems Dagmar is even more scared of things than me. So... And I'm really scared of things, so, like... It's an impressive feat. And I respect it. I really do. Oh my gosh, y'all. You should look at the TikTok I posted if you're on TikTok, because I will never go viral on TikTok, but I have some bangers, you know? I have some bangers. No, like, I genuinely know I'll get nightmares. Dagmar, I want you to think of kittens. Weeping angels is just move when you don't look and then send you back in time and feed off your missing futures. So they could totally help you get super rich. Dagmar, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna help Dagmar. Everyone come here together. This is Chumble Bumble. You get a free Chumble Bumble redeem. And Chumble Bumble's gonna make sure you sleep well and not have nightmares. Chumble Bumble's gonna just fly. Everyone, get your Chumble Bumbles and fly. If you don't know, we have a Chumble Bumble emote. And this is the Chumble Bumble emote. So fly. And Dagmar, all you gotta do is fly. And nothing's scary anymore because Chumble Bumble's here galore. Chumble Bumble. Chumble Bumble's here to make sure that you're okay. Am I being helpful? I hope I'm being helpful. Chumble Bumble's here to say you're gonna have a good day. And Chumble Bumble's here to help the scaries away. Trying to hide my scary messages. I hope that helped. Why is there a watermelon emote? It's so I put it in initially when I was fundraising for my family friends in Palestine, but I've kept it because we believe in a free Palestine over here. I actually have, I'm pretty sure this command still works. Yeah. Oh, I love watermelon. Yes. Yes. Okay, friends. I think we need to wrap things up and go raid someone because I've actually been streaming longer than I planned and I think I need food. I think food is something that I need to consume. And so, consume we will, consume we must. We just need to find who we will go say hi to. Dang, book talk always makes time fly. It really does. It really, really does. Yeah, I've been live for 3.5 hours, so. And that's like longish for me. I usually go for like 2.5, so. But I could talk about books for forever. I really could. I really, really could. Trina, this was so fun today. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you had fun. I had a really great time too. Okay. So I'm going to be live again on Friday, probably around the same time, 4-ish p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to be doing a celebration of 2K followers sometime, probably next week. I just need to check in with my mods when they're free. But it's basically going to be a stream where I try hobbies that I don't know how to do, and I'm not allowed to look up any instructions. Thanks for the stream. My pleasure. Thanks for being here, hanging for the first stream of the year. Yeah. So that's the plan. Feel free to hang out in the Discord if you want to talk about more books or non-book things. That sounds fun. Yeah. It's going to be really chaotic because I don't know how to do most hobbies other than the ones I do, but the ones I do are also my career, so I'll try to be there. Yay! Yeah, I'll put all the information about that in the Discord and also over on socials. It'll probably be next week. But I will be live on Friday with just a regular old music stream as well. Wait! Yes. Yes, Disney. Yes. Yes. I must wait. I just saw you read The Woman in Cabin 10. I read that. I did! That's all. That's all. Iconic. Iconic. Oh my god. Honestly, no notes. That was everything. That was everything. Okay. Okay. Let's set up our raid. Just needed you to know. Well, I'm so glad you told me. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. We're gonna go over to Moz. Wait, did I not copy the name right? I always struggle copying Moz's username. There we go. Copy the raid messages, either the regular one or the subbed one if you're subbed. And let's go show Moz all the love. I think they're doing some Baldur's Gate. And I will see you again on Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Will not be joining in for obvious reasons. All good. All good. Go to bed, Dagemer. Go to bed. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Feel free to join the Discord. Keep posted on socials for future things and stuff. And I appreciate y'all very much. Let's give some mod love to Aqua, who was here earlier. Thank you so much for all you do. And I will see you again very, very soon. Bye.
I'm a little bit uncertain, a little bit messed up, a little bit forgotten when things fall apart, a little bit too needy, often misconstrued. But how is it that this time I'm a little bit